Bless you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning, Ambient. And JC.
$10.
Ohio State. USC's arrival.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope you've had a good week. Let's finish it in style, shall we? How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And Mark, it is a football Friday.
Football Friday.
A lot of grit. A lot of grit involved with that. It's like maybe it's the biggest college football weekend of the season thus far. That's what it sounded like to me.
There's a lot of meat on the bone this weekend, David.
Ho, ho, ho. This is, are you an all drums guy? Are you an all wings guy? Do you order them special or do you just take them all mixed up?
I eat what's on the plate, David.
Okay. I think this is double order of wings.
Oh, I think this is the Brazilian steakhouse where they just keep bringing you meat. That's how much meat's on the bone. This is where you put the green thing up. You say, keep bringing it. Because at noon, you get Clemson and Florida State. And, you start cutting. And you put that. Then 3:30, you got Alabama and Ole Miss. And you got Colorado and Oregon. And then you get more meat. And then you just keep cutting. And the green light's still there. And you think you're done. And then at 7:30, Ohio State and Notre Dame. And you just keep piling it on. So this is a Brazilian steakhouse, David. That's how much meat's on this bone. This is more than just a double plate of wings.
And I don't know if it's being talked about enough, believe it or not, that what is very much at stake this early in the college football season. We'll get to Thursday night football and we'll get to week 3 in the NFL in a large respect coming up. And yes, but the Rays and Marlins both had a good day and night yesterday. Both would be in the playoffs if the playoffs started today. That's how good a day it was for the Marlins. But if Florida State beats Clemson, can they afford a loss between Clemson and the ACC title game? I mean, is that what is at stake for Florida State Saturday, that they have some breathing room?
I don't know. And I'm not trying to duck the question, but because the Pac-12 is so good this year, because Texas is off to the start they have this year, you can get in with the loss. We know that teams are going to lose games. But with the Big Ten having seemingly 3 teams that are really good, can the ACC school afford a loss to a non-top echelon team? Can they afford a slip up against a mediocre team?
But Are they a non-top echelon team? I know they had an early season setback, but if Clemson wins Saturday, how many times are they going to be an underdog the rest of the year? If you know what I mean. I
I'm
mean,
sorry, I
tell me.
misunderstood. I thought you said if Florida State beats them, can they afford to slip up?
Right, but you said, can they afford? So I didn't know if you were talking about affording a loss to Clemson or affording loss to somebody else.
Well, I think they can afford a loss Saturday. I mean, I think they can lose to Clemson because they'd get the opportunity to play them again. I don't think Florida State can lose to anybody else on their schedule, David.
Gotcha. Okay. The other thing,
That's the problem with Florida State. You know, maybe Florida, if they continue to play the way they're playing, but I don't see the loss other than Clemson that they can rebound from to get in with what I think other one-loss teams are going to look like, if you know what I mean.
the other thing is how much potentially is at stake in Ohio State, Notre Dame? First off, if Notre Dame loses, I don't think there's a way for them to make the playoff. I really don't. I know you can sit down and argue there's a way, and yes, they can beat USC later on in the year. But, Mark, unless Ohio State runs the table, which I do not expect them to do. In fact, I really wonder if this is the year, kind of like 15 years ago in the Big 12 South there, when Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas Tech under Mike Leach all got each other. And they all ended up with a loss. I really wonder if this is the year that Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State all get each other. And they're all going to end up with a loss. And if I'm right, and that's the case, if Notre Dame were to lose to Ohio State, then to me, in theory, they'll end up behind all three Big Ten teams. And therefore, they won't be able to make the playoff, even with a win potentially over an undefeated USC. I think, Mark, Notre Dame absolutely has to win tomorrow, or they will not make the playoff. They can get really close. They could even be fifth. But I don't think Notre Dame can lose tomorrow and make the playoff.
Well, I think you're on to something because I think right now, I think it's a safe bet to make, even though that's not been the case in many years. But right now, with the way the Big Ten has started off and where they are in the polls and what people think of these three schools, the most likely conference to get two teams in right now is the Big Ten.
Correct.
Based on the way the SEC has started off, based on the lack of love for the Pac-12, as good as that conference is, does anybody see them getting two? It's been hard enough for them to get one, for crying out loud, let alone two into the playoffs. So if Notre Dame loses, then that adds to a big non-conference win for the Big Ten.
Well, the biggest of the season thus far. I think it would edge in front of Florida State beating LSU in Orlando. I think Ohio State would have the best win of the season. I think it would be better than Texas winning at Alabama, to be honest with you, if Ohio State wins at Notre Dame, because of what Alabama has now been exposed to be. At the time Texas beat them, we went, oh. But now we're looking at Alabama and going, wow, this might be his worst team in 15 years. I mean, Notre Dame's a legit top 10 team with a quarterback. I mean, this is a very good team. It was a young team last year. They're all back. This is a really good team. This is a top 8 team in the country. If you hate Notre Dame, that's a you problem. This is a top 8 team in the country with a quarterback.
I hate Notre Dame, and I agree with everything you just said.
Well, but some people hate them to the point where they won't acknowledge the truth. And we all know that Notre Dame is oftentimes overrated. I could argue this team might be ever so slightly underrated right now. I'm not sure there are 8 teams better than Notre Dame. But we'll see come tomorrow. But to me, not just because it's a battle of top 10 teams, and look at the brands, but if Notre Dame wins tomorrow, to me, Notre Dame's ahead of Florida State if they both run the table as to who makes the playoff. Because remember, for both to run the table, what's left on Florida State's schedule and what would be left on Notre Dame's schedule is USC. Granted, in South Bend, but still. I actually think we're underplaying how big the Ohio State-Notre Dame game is. If that's possible with two of the 5 biggest brands in the sport, both ranked in the top 10. I actually think we're underplaying how big this game is and the tentacles, the ramifications of the result of this game.
Obviously, if Notre Dame were to win the game, the thought of the Big Ten getting 2 dissipates quickly. It really does. I mean, that's the other side of this, is that the Notre Dame victory, to me, just puts a quick shot at the Big Ten's trying to get 2 teams.
If you're a Big Ten fan, besides the fact that you then would want Ohio State to win, although many people who are Big Ten fans, they are one way or the other on Ohio State and Michigan. But if Florida State and Notre Dame win tomorrow, I don't think there's a conference that's going to get 2 bids. I mean, that I think could be determined on September 23rd. Because I actually might be able to make the case that the wins would be so good that they each could afford a loss the rest of the way and still end up ranking ahead of the second best team in whatever conference you want to pick. It's a monster Saturday. We may come back and circle September 23rd and say this was the Saturday that dictated how it ultimately played out 10 weeks later. And meanwhile, if you're an SEC or a Big Ten fan and you want 2 teams, well, you're rooting like hell for Clemson and you're rooting for Ohio State.
Not to mention all of the other terrific games there are on the docket this weekend.
Well, this is where the Pac-12 and its swan song, 8 nationally ranked teams, they have not 1, not 2, but 3 matchups where ranked teams are playing each other this weekend. Think about that. Did we have 1 matchup in the country last year? Or last week, I should say? Did we have 1 matchup of ranked teams in the country last week? I don't know that we did.
So.
I don't think we did. Hell, we have 3 in 1 conference tomorrow.
UCF gets their entrance into the Big 12 really official tomorrow with a game at K-State.
Without their starting quarterback.
I know.
You're going to hear about that game a little bit later on, I have a feeling. Without their starting quarterback.
Pretty small number without their starting quarterback.
I know. I'm a bit surprised.
USF with an opportunity for a win.
Home dog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And after playing the powerhouse Alabama, they get to chew on some rice.
See what you did there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So, yeah, it's a hell of a Saturday. A breather Saturday for Miami and for the Gators. So we hope. Lee Sterling makes his picks. He's had some good weeks lately. If you've been subscribing to Lee, you are making some money. He's had back-to-back winning weeks on this show also. So is Mark Miller, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you recognizing that.
That needs to be pointed out. Yeah.
So we'll do our picks at some point in the morning as well. Pat Kirwan to join us to talk all things NFL. And we'll recap what happened on Thursday night on the other side right here, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Go Raiders, they cannot tie anymore. Nope. They play till somebody wins. Well, West, considering Clemson and Notre Dame don't play each other. More pressure in what way? Like, I mean, obviously no one's losing their job this year, but I think the ramifications if Clemson loses are bigger than if Florida State loses. How about me hitting that teaser yesterday, huh?
Another three. It got you 3 wins last night on Thursday night. You teased it. I took it straight up.
We can't count those. It's a shame. Well, right, we're talking about games on September 23rd. Oh, DC, that's laughable. Okay, honestly. Ohio State Notre Dame could be the highest rated game of the year. I think Ohio State Michigan will beat it, but $7:30 Saturday night, NBC, Ohio State Notre Dame. Yeah, that's going to do really well. I applaud these two schools doing this home and home while there was still only a 14 playoff. I would like to think we can get a few more of these once we go to 12. because you can afford a loss. Hell, you can afford 2. You might be able to afford 3. It's a Notre Dame game, unfortunately, Ryro. It's not a Big Ten game. It's a Notre Dame broadcast. You're going to get Jack Collinsworth and Jason Garrett. I know Kaufman, and that's awesome, but like I said, when you have the 12-team playoff, hopefully we should get more of these. Well, I don't think Jason Garrett's worth and Jack Collinsworth. Right.
30 seconds.
Yeah, well, Sunday Night Football. Hey, if it was up to Tirico, he'd do both. He'd do Notre Dame and then do Sunday night. Go Raiders. Have a good one.
Get to work.
No, DC, they never have before.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Yeah, just got underway last night with a little Thursday night NFL. Unfortunately, the game went about how everyone expected. One team is clearly better than the other, and the really good team was a lot healthier than the team. So it was just a matter of, was it going to be quick and painless, or was it going to be slower and painful? And it was slower and painful. Niners pull away in the fourth quarter. Win, cover, game stays under, however. That's why you actually needed to do the teaser that was thrown out there on this show, where you move the Niners down to about 4.5, and you move the under down to 38, and then you go over. But just saying.
Or you could have just laid the number.
Like was also said on this show.
Either way, you got nothing but winners last night.
Right. And Miller and Moulton don't get to count any of those winners, do we? Zip, zilch, nada. Man, we are crushing it on Thursdays. Crushing it on Thursdays. It's that Saturday, Sunday, Monday thing that can be problematic. Although you've had back-to-back winning weeks. That needs to be, I need to hammer that home. I can't have my awfulness rub off on you. Okay. People need to know you're in September, you're holding up your end of the bargain and then some, and then you really get hot in October. That's the month you begin to heat up.
I plan on having a year-long heater this year. We're going to give nothing but winning weeks. We're going to make money for the listeners that pay attention. And if we can do it legally by some point in the next couple of weeks, wouldn't that be grand as well?
Not that it matters. So what are we thinking about Brock Purdy? Are we thinking he's a systems quarterback and that for whatever reason Trey Lance and others just couldn't fit and Jimmy G fit to a point? Or is this going to go down as the greatest 7th-round pick in the NFL history here? I mean, damn. I mean, little 310 and 2 touchdowns last night. No, this just in, Mark. He's yet to lose a regular season game.
It's uncanny what he is doing.
And these games that the Niners are playing so far this year are not even competitive.
Not at all.
These are college scores that the Niners are beating NFL teams by.
the team is so rock solid.
Yeah. But as we saw yesterday in Dallas, you got to stay healthy, and it is the damnedest thing. When guys untouched at practice can blow out their knees and be lost for the year. Really good players, too. Top 5 players on your team. Just a Thursday practice, and boom, you lose one of your best players. We talk about it, Mark. Fans don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to acknowledge it. You need luck, man. You do. It's just rub of the whatever, Green, Hoyle, whatever. It's just you need breaks, and I think you need more of them in football than a lot of other sports because the injury factor is just staggering.
And even though it's the ultimate team game, what one injury can do to a team, what one hole can create for an opposition.
And that's why it's ironic. Like, if Aaron Rodgers never wins another Super Bowl, people are going to say, oh, well, he only won one. Yeah, the team that he won on had like 15 guys on IR at the end of the year. I mean, he carried like the 6th best team he's ever played on to a Super Bowl title that year. It's just, man, winning a championship is the damnedest thing. It really is. That's why we love this so much. We do. But where are you on Brock Purdy? When you watch Brock Purdy, are you like, damn, that's one of the 12 best quarterbacks in the NFL? Or are you just like, I don't know. I think we can plug about 8 guys in on this team and they'd be just fine.
I want to lean the second way, David, but all he does is win. It's hard at some point to sit there and praise guys who aren't doing much more than Brock Purdy, and we give them all the accolades. But for whatever reason, Purdy's a system quarterback because it's San Francisco and the talent that's around him.
Well, and also the bias of he was Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, he was the final pick of the draft. I mean, that's, hang it where some of us, and I'm in that camp, is just looking at him going, well, come on. I mean, okay, if they were wrong about him, so they should have taken him in the 4th round? I mean, what do we think of quarterbacks who are taken in the 4th round? Instead of at the very end of the day, they should have, picked him at the very beginning of the day. Okay, what would we think of him then? We'd think of him as Sam Howell in Washington, a 5th round pick, a project, talented. Okay, people wondering why did he fall to the 5th round? I thought he was going to be like a 3rd round pick. But I mean, that's
right. Well, Cousins was a 4th round pick, right?
Correct. Yeah. Good, solid college quarterback. Okay. Thought of, though, as he'll be a really good backup. Don't know if he's a starter. And remember, he was in the same draft, I believe, that they took RG3, right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't playing until, well, who got hurt at the end of his rookie year. So I mean, this is, and also he's making $900,000. I mean, think about the reason the Niners can afford top 5 highest paid guys at 8 different positions is because of Brock Purdy. And they got 2 more years of this, by the way. I mean, it's a 4-year rookie deal. It's locked in. Now, he's obviously at some point going to be like, I'm kind of overachieving this contract. They're going to be like, yeah, I know what to tell you. We got so many guys we're paying right now. You're just going to have to wait your turn. Yeah, okay. It's going to cost you. Just letting you know. Come 2026, it's really going to cost you. But until then, Mark, I mean, they got a chance to keep this sucker together because of him. So he's stirring the drink, and in a way, he's making the drink.
Yeah, he is the really hot bottle of bourbon that's only $28 a bottle, and everybody went, this is great. This is better than the $80 bottle.
And are
you
buy
a few cases of that before they realize it and mark the price up twice what it costs right now?
And of the two of us, you're the guy. Is it so good that you're thinking to yourself, in like a year, everybody's going to realize how good this is. We should just take a bottle and not open it. And just
Exactly.
save it. That 20 years from now, this is going to, right now, for whatever reason. Mark, to me, that was Yingling beer in college. When I went to college, it was a part of cheap beer night. All of a sudden, 10 years later, I'm going to New York City. I'm paying $8 for a Yingling on draft in the mid 90s. I'm like, I used to pay less for a case. What's going on? Oh, this is the yuppie beer. What are you talking about? It's a yuppie beer. Oh, yeah, this is good beer. Good beer. It's made in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. It's the oldest family brewery in the country. Oh, no, this is really good stuff.
Says
Oh,
who?
okay. Yeah, okay. So I've seen Brock Purdy before. It's been in a Yingling bottle, 1829. I think that's when the family started brewing it. Anyway.
It's our story, and we're sticking to it.
Right.
Until we look it up, and then we hope we're right again.
I know I got the right century.
We got to get to our poll question on the other side.
That's right. It's part of the shape up.
Don't let you think, David, that we're going to slip up this week. Not on a Friday. We're still ready to go. We're doing calisthenics. Miller and Moulton, the starting five, and the poll question on the other side of the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, yesterday's poll bombed. Bombed, David. Won't even revisit it.
DC, I think part of it is because, first off, Cousins has been around longer, and secondly, he's played on better teams. Jones has only been a part of one winning team, but no doubt. I mean, he doesn't have a win at night, does he? Giants' primetime record over the last 12 years is horrendous. I don't know if they have a win in primetime. I mean, they played the Cowboys the last 2 years in prime time, Mondays and Sundays, lost both. Eagles playoff game was prime time. It's not when a game ends, it's when it starts.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Lee Sterling joins us at the top of the hour. He'll make his picks. Pat Kirwan will join us a little more than an hour. We'll go through all things NFL. Good night for the Rays and Marlins last night. We'll get to that in a bit. All right. What's the poll question?
Well, you gave us this poll question earlier in the week. This is your poll question. Believe it or not.
Maybe that's why I'm so enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, boy, oh boy, this is a hell of a shape-up.
Hey, some people get dragged to the shape-up. Some people in the family are like, okay, all right, we're doing well. Okay, and now it's day 4. And some of us are like...
On Monday, you asked the question, what 3:30 game this weekend are you most interested in? Colorado, Oregon, Ole Miss, Alabama. So that's the question.
And the reason that I came up with the question is because the Dion ratings were humongous. 9.3 million for 10:20 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Colorado State. That time slot usually does 1.7 million. 9.3. 4 million less people watched Florida, Tennessee. That's how big the Coach Prime effect was. But remember, Mark, you had game day there. You had Big Noon there. You had 60 Minutes there. You had the network newscast there. I mean, it couldn't have gotten any more hype. Then it was promoted all day on the 4-letter network and subsequent family of networks. And then you had the Florida-Tennessee game leading into it, which was the 3rd highest rated game of the day. It's a good lead-in, as we say in the biz. But now we find out. Coach Prime or Nick Saban? Dion or Alabama?
I think the Colorado number will destroy it. Destroy it.
2007 doesn't count. That was Nick's first year. They had some moments, but they went 7-6. The run started year 2. They went 12-0 in the regular season, lost in the SEC title game to Florida. So this is a 15-year run here for Nick. That's, right there with Bobby's run. Better because more titles, but if Bobby had a 4-man playoff, I think we all be curious what that run would have looked like. But anyway, Mark, I can assure you, Alabama has never played at 3:30 in the last 15 years on CBS and not won the time slot.
They're going to lose on Saturday.
Well, that's what I want to see. Colorado, Oregon. Big 10, Big 12 matchup. Disguised as a Pac-12 tilt against Lane Kiffin taking a pretty good team into Tuscaloosa, where Alabama's the most vulnerable they've been in 15 years. And we're talking about a changing of the guard in the ACC. We could have a changing of the guard in the SEC West. I mean, this Saturday could be so much bigger than even we think it is, and we think it's going to go down as the biggest Saturday of the year. It could be Deion Sanders ratings humongous. That's how big this Saturday could be.
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
So to review, that's the poll question. Which game are you watching?
Which game
Colorado?
are you most? Because people have 2 TVs. I don't want to hear. I'm watching both. Which one are you more interested in?
Gotcha. So is it Coach Prime or is it the legend? Colorado or Alabama? All right. I like it. Talked myself into it. All right. Day 4 of the shape-up's going well so far. Good job by you. The Niners outclassed the Giants. Come on. We all knew this was coming unless they just decided to mail it in. They outgained them 441 to 150. They ran 32 more plays. Brock Purdy threw for 310 and 2 scores. They pulled away in the fourth quarter, 30-12. Niners. They're 3-0. The Giants are 1-2. Giants get a little extra time off, though. They don't play again till a week from Monday at home against Seattle. Other NFL news and notes from yesterday. Cowboys cornerback Trayvon Diggs tore his left ACL in practice. He's out for the year. Huge loss for Dallas. Bryce Young not expected to play Sunday for Carolina against Seattle. You'll see Andy Dalton under center for the Panthers. And are you paying attention, Mark, to this whole Joe Burrow quarterback story in Cincinnati? So he's listed as, quote, day-to-day. He hasn't practiced yet this week, just so you know. That's Wednesday and Thursday. But since they play on Monday, they've got a little extra day. But he kind of needs to be on the field today. So they've got 2 quarterbacks behind them on the roster, Mark. They've got Jake Browning, lefty out of Washington. Took him to the playoff 5 years ago. And remember, they were the ones that picked up Will Grier when the Cowboys released him. Only they signed Will Grier to their practice squad. They were going to wait a couple more days and see whether or not Burrow's going to play. And if he's not, they were going to move him up to the 53-man roster. Yeah, the Patriots called and offered him a roster spot yesterday. So he kind of looked at the Bengals and said, "You're going to move me up?" And they went, And so Will Grier's now in New England, which means, Mark, that you've got Joe Burrow, who's not healthy enough to practice, and Jake Browning. And that's all they have in the building, period. They got nothing else right now. If they hold out for Burrow to play and he can't go, they will literally be playing Monday Night Football with Jake Browning and no one else at quarterback. It's an interesting little scenario, isn't it?
Doesn't it make you believe they think Burrow's going to play?
Yeah, but are you sure? Are you willing to roll this kind of a dice with your roster? Because you've already rolling it a few times and you're beginning to crap out. The chips are getting lower and lower. One college football game, Georgia State's 4-0, or whatever that's worth. They went to Coastal Carolina and beat them 30-17. All right, Major League Baseball, good day and night for the Rays. They rallied for 2 in the ninth in the afternoon at the Trop to beat the Angels 5-4, and then Cleveland beat Baltimore 5-2. Now, the odds are still against them. They're a game and a half back of the standings, 2 in the loss column, and the Orioles own the tiebreaker. So they really have to make up 3 games with just 3 series left. But got a chance, right? We're just talking about chips. What do they say in poker? Chip in a chair? Orioles' magic number, I believe, remains at 7. Also, not only did Cleveland win, but Detroit won. They beat Oakland 7-3, and so that means the Twins did not clinch the Central yesterday while off. They actually have to do something on the field tonight. The Yankees beat Toronto 5-3, hurting the Blue Jays' playoff chances, although they're still the 5 seed, but now by a half a game over Texas and Seattle. Garrett Cole, 8 innings, gave up just 1 run. He's 14-4. Most people think he's going to win the American League Cy Young Award. Mark, the Pirates took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, and that is great news for the Marlins. 8-6 your final on the north side. The loss by the Cubs moves them into a tie for the 6th and final playoff spot with the Marlins, but the Marlins own the tiebreaker. Remember, they own the tiebreaker against everybody but San Francisco. And the Giants right now are falling apart. They've lost 4 in a row. The Dodgers beat them 7-3. They're below 500. So forget the Giants, which means if the Marlins finish tied with Arizona, Chicago, or Cincinnati, they own the tiebreakers against all of them. Hot steaming deal. Felipe's a week and a half away from winning a bet. Cubs lost, Milwaukee won. They beat the Cardinals 6-0. Brewers' magic number is 2. They're now 21 games over 500. Very quietly. Milwaukee's been playing pretty darn well this month. Nick Castellanos with a homer and 4 ribbies. He's got 103 RBIs. Remember when RBI used to be a meaningful stat?
I don't know how it still isn't.
Thank you. It would seem big to me.
I mean, you need to score runs.
Right.
Because runs batted in.
It would seem to be as if, hey, you've really helped us win games this year.
What's your OPS?
And what's your WAR? And RBIs apparently don't contribute significantly to WAR. I mean, why would they? Phils beat the Mets 5-4. They have a 3-game lead for the 4 seed over Arizona. Right now, those two teams would play each other in a best-of-3 first-round series. Braves, Matt Olson at his 53rd homer. They beat the Nats 10-3. Interesting hire by your Tigers yesterday. They hired Blackhawks associate general manager Jeff Greenberg to be their general manager. Yes, that's right, the Blackhawks, the NHL. Now, he'd been there the last 2 years. Apparently, 10 years before that, he was working in Chicago for the Cubs. So he's got a baseball background. He apparently was just moonlighting for the last couple of years. So,
well, I mean, he got the Blackhawks at Bedard. Maybe he can get the Tigers something. I don't know.
So he dealt with the Patrick Kane and Tay situation and got him a Bedard and said, my work here is done. Not much more I can do here. You know, the Solheim Cup's underway. That's the women's equivalent of the Ryder Cup. Mark, this just in alternate shot. And the U.S., who have lost the last 2 Ryder Cups, they're playing overseas in Spain. They're underdogs in this one. And alternate shot in the morning, they've won their first 3 matches, and they're 1-up playing 18. U.S. with a chance to go 4-0 in the morning alternate shot in the Solheim Cup. Take that, Ryder Cuppers. You can win overseas. The women are doing it. I digress. The Rays announced they're calling up their top prospect, 20-year-old Junior Caminero. They didn't have to add him to their 40-man roster to the offseason. So this is interesting. They're calling him up all the way from Double-A. He started the year in high A ball. Curious. You figure if you're calling him up, you're going to play him, right?
One would think.
You got to cut somebody from your 40-man roster to call this guy up, and there's 9 games left or 8 for them. Have you heard the Oregon State and Washington State ADs talking lately? They're talking about putting together a league, maybe with some Mountain West teams, with relegation. They said it's complicated. You got to get a network to sign off, and then that's problematic. But if it's working in European soccer, why can't we do it here? Come on now. Nobody cares about Oregon State, Washington State football, including Fox and ESPN. That's why they left them out of the major conferences. But come on now. American sports fans are intrigued by this relegation thing.
Every day, more and more.
I mean, if the Pac-12 / Mountain West or the Pac-West or the Mountain 12, whatever it is they call themselves, if they had a relegation system, wouldn't you be paying attention?
Absolutely. They can name it
way,
Conference Mountain Dew for all I care. If they're relegating teams, I'm going to pay attention.
Conference Mountain Dew. I like that. Julie Ertz said her farewell last night in a U.S. women's friendly. Megan Rapinoe will do her farewell Sunday in another friendly. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Could call it Conference Mountain Dew. I like that. That could be a poll question sometime next week. What should the Pac-12 Mountain West call their new conference?
Pac West, Mountain 12, or just Mountain Dew. I like Mountain Dew just for the sponsorship opportunities.
Do we bring Kanye in and let him try to rename it? I mean, he's renamed himself and it's worked so well. Plus, you got the whole West thing. No?
Name it after one of his kids, right? Northwest? Just call it the
Right.
Northwest Conference?
Or Yay. Or I don't know.
Miller and Moulton. We'll switch gears. Something we try to know something about. We don't do well at it. It's gambling. Lee Sterling does very well at it. That's why we bring him on the show. He's next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop at the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Lee.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I don't know what's going on early morning before like 8 in the morning here and after like 5 o'clock. The internet just goes like, just runs slow. So must be a lot of people on the internet.
Got a hell of a slate this week, Lee.
Oh, I have to go up to New York to see my daughter perform. And so there's a sports bar like literally a block away. I'll be there all Saturday until her show Saturday night and then most of Sunday. What Monday game do you have, David?
Bucks.
Okay.
So we got the
At least
good
you
one.
got the yeah. Oh, it was painful those two games on Monday night.
Yeah. The Steelers-Browns game just ended about 10 minutes ago. Holy mackerel, that game took forever. Yeah, there's 9 2-0 teams, and there's only one matchup.
A lot of you.
I'm sorry, what?
You guys are breaking up a lot. Am I coming in okay?
Yep.
Not on my end, but
okay. Now I can't see David.
Yeah, neither. He did that himself.
I did that to.
Oh, okay. I don't love the Monday Night Football experiment with the two games. Okay. Maybe that'll help. Who knows? Oh, and I'll text you the game of the week.
All right.
$15 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio to join us 1 hour from now. But Fridays at 7 Eastern is when Lee Sterling, he of Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. That's how you get a hold of Lee for his picks. And, well, he's had back-to-back really good weeks and winning weeks on this show as well. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
I'm good. Finally, we get a college football Saturday we've been waiting for.
Well, there's no doubt. It's been a little bit tough sledding, maybe one good game, but this weekend, 5 or 6 really good games, Lee. This is a college football fan's dream this weekend.
Finally. I mean, this is what they should do. I mean, hopefully with expansion and the realignment, some of these teams at least play 1, maybe 2 top-tier teams instead of like someone like Michigan playing 3 MAC schools every year.
And their schedule next year isn't a whole lot harder. And when Oklahoma and Georgia canceled their home and home, Georgia's schedule this year is pretty soft as well. Well, it should be a soft landing for the Canes, who have 2 extra days to prepare since they played 2 Thursdays ago. They're going on the road, however, in Philly to take on Temple, and the number's 23.5.
Yeah, and weather. Weather's a big factor. Any game in the Northeast. In fact, looking right now, it's going to be low 60s, 50 to 60% chance of rain during that game, and 20 to 25-mile-an-hour winds. That actually favors Miami. Temple Warner's son is the quarterback. If he was probably 2 inches taller and had a stronger arm, he might make it in the NFL. But they have to move the ball around. Two good receivers, Ahmad Anderson, another kid, Dante Wright from Colorado State. He came over in the transfer portal. But with the weather not being good, I think Miami just runs all over him here. Get a couple defenders back. I like Miami 38-10.
All right, let's get to the big noon game. Florida State and Clemson. Florida State can regain control of the ACC. They've lost 7 in a row in this series. It has been all Clemson. It's been Clemson, I think, 4 in a row when Clemson hosts the game. It's a 2.5-point spread right now. How do you see it, Lee?
So, I mean, you can look at it one way or the other with Florida State. Are they pretenders after barely beating Boston College? I don't know. I think that they're kind of looking ahead a little bit. I mean, when you watch film of Boston College before that game, you saw nothing. They faced a dual threat quarterback who they've had trouble with. And LSU, that win against LSU, I think now looks from the opening whistle against Mississippi State. So throwing the football, Cade Klubnik, he's not a dual threat quarterback. Only has run for 63 yards in 3 games. Clemson has some good running backs. I don't think the receivers scary here at all. I think Florida State's receivers can come up with a big play or two. Florida State also 8-2 against the spread the last 10 times when they faced ACC opponents here. This is a tough game, but I like Florida State 27-23.
It doesn't get any easier in prime time. Ohio State, a 3-point favorite in South Bend against the top 10 rated Irish with Sam Hartman at quarterback.
So how big of a difference is Sam Hartman to the quarterbacks they've had the last couple of years? Well, last year, their quarterbacks after 3 games, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. This year with Sam Hartman, 15 touchdowns, no interceptions after 4 games. Ohio State, C.J. Stroud last year, after 3, 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. This year, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The most important position. I think it can cover up for a few of the positions where maybe Ohio State has an edge here. I think this is a circle game for Notre Dame. I think they've been preparing for this game. It was like similar to Miami. When you lose to a team the year before, that's your focus here. You come up with a great game plan here. Home field advantage could be big here. And Ohio State just 1-7 against the spread. The last 8 games as a road favorite. The wrong team is favored. Notre Dame outright 28-24.
All right, to the weekend we go, and the pro game, the NFL. Tampa is a 5.5-point dog Monday night against Philadelphia. How do you see it, Lee?
Baker Mayfield's done a good job so far. He has not cost him the game. He's missed a couple throws here and there that could have put a couple of these games away earlier. But playing within himself here. He's had an open, nice, clean pocket. Now, Philadelphia's front 7. Best, I think, in the NFL he's going to face. And whenever you think everything's looking good with Baker, usually comes crashing down here. So I expect Jalen Hurts to have a big game here. You just can't prepare for this guy. He just does everything here. And his 2 receivers on the outside is good or better than what Tampa Bay has here. So we're going to go now. All of a sudden, they got a running back with Swift. 3 extra days here to prepare. I like Philadelphia 30-17.
Well, and A.J. Brown was quiet 2 Thursdays ago against the Vikings. Usually great players like that do not have quiet games 2 in a row. All right. Dolphins started 3-0 last year, and were 8-3 even at one point last year, which is largely forgotten. So they have a chance for another 3-0 start. I'm surprised the line's not a little bigger, actually. Dolphins 6.5-point home favorite against Denver.
So Denver does have some injuries at the safety position. 3 safeties will be out. But it looks like it's trending like Jalen Waddle will not play, if I had to guess right now. And without him, going to be a little bit tougher here. Russell Wilson's looked better. Vic Fangio, his advantage here, knowing the offense kind of negated and brand new offense here. He does know some of the personnel, obviously on defense, and some that's carried over to offense. But I think this is a case where Denver, they just play everyone tight here. They play down to the level of competition and up to the level of competition. I just think this is a trap game here. I think Miami wins the game 27-26, but I take the 6.5 points here.
Your game of the week this week is Florida in Charlotte. Florida's laying the big number. Lee, if they want it, how do they get it?
Just be one of the first 10 callers. Call 800-400-9741. We'll give it to you for free. 800-400-9741. Get the game on. We have this week our underdog shocker. Have a game where I think the line's off by a touchdown. College football, sometimes they price a favorite just too high. Keep moving it up until the public just stops betting it. So you want to get it now. Get this game in. Baker's dozen. Again, we're going to bring it back. Went 8-5 last week on it. I think we can do better. I think we can go 9-4, 10-3, or even 11-2. So you want to hop on board. Baker's dozen, 13 games, just $97. We've got the UFC, baseball's rolling. Check out all the specials and all the other videos, ParamountSports.com.
800-400-9741. Lee laying the points with the Canes. Thinks Florida State wins and covers at Clemson. Notre Dame to win outright, and they're getting 3. Eagles to win and cover Monday night against the Bucks, and the Dolphins to win, but the Broncos to cover Sunday in South Florida. Lee, safe travels. Enjoy your daughter in the play and Broadway, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. Follow him on Twitter/X at Paramount Sports and 800-400-9741. So he's calling for the Notre Dame upset. Calling for it outright. He called for the Canes to beat A&M. He called for the Gators to beat the Vols. He's been pretty good this year when he says wrong team's favored. Called the Dolphins to beat the Chargers week 1. His wrong team's favorit's been pretty good this year. It's been really good this year.
Yes, it has. And that was music to my ears because I may have written down a game that he had on his slate as well. So Notre Dame, Florida State, the Canes on Saturday, the Eagles, and Denver and the points for his NFL games.
Yeah, you'll hear one of those from me as well. Don't you worry. You'll hear one of those from me. I have a feeling you'll hear at least one of those from you too.
How many did you go with this week?
Well, I mean, the usual.
The usual.
Yeah.
7?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic 5.
Correct. Well, I'm playing catch up. I need more opportunities. I'm chasing.
It's
that's what gamblers do.
Still early to be chasing.
Well, it was a pretty big early deficit. I mean, plus I have all these winners that I can't count. I'd be in the money if I could count Thursday night. And besides, I'm stuck in the past, Mark. We used to do a Super 7 back in the day. I'm still stuck in the past. Of course, when we did a Super 7, I was doing like a naughty 9 and an excellent 11. But, that's...
Don't let numbers get in the way of things.
No, I'm like a college football conference, Mark. I mean, I can't believe you give me a hard time, for goodness sake. We love our college football. I mean, does anybody have the right number associated with their conference anymore? How many teams in the Big Ten? It's not 10, I can tell you that. It's a lot more than that. Hell, by next year, it'll be like 37. Next year, how many teams in the Pac-12? At most 2, apparently. Big 12, how many teams we got next year? At least 18, right? 16, 18?
16, I think.
Okay. All right. Right. You're giving me a hard time because the Fantastic 5, I picked 7. Hell, I'm in line to be a conference commissioner. In fact, this is part of my resume. What makes you think you can be commissioner of this conference? Well, I can't count.
Math.
Right?
Lack thereof.
Yeah. And I can make bad decisions on a weekly basis. And from what I gather, so do you guys. So what do you say? Besides, I'm going to steal your idea. And I want to rename this conference. All right? Conference Mountain Dew. And then you can put whatever number you want next to it. Going to work sponsorship into the name of the conference. The Conference Mountain Dew 16.
And you can have your own little conference Mellow Yellow if you want, but mine's bigger.
Right. And in fact, we'll have a Mellow Yellow division. That's relegation.
That would be relegation from the Mountain Dew Conference, even though it's a little bit better. It just doesn't have the same popularity. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening right here, the Florida Sports Network.
Those are
Hello,
fighting
friends and
words.
family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, ambient, let's see. The Broncos have lost by 1 and by 2. So I think that's why he did that.
You know, Lee's 0-3 on his game of the week.
I know that.
Oh, you're Slurpee on the year. 7-11.
No, I'm not. I'm 8-12. I went 2-4.
Oh, that's right. You had a winning week. I'm sorry, David. I just, in my head, I do 5 games, add to next week. I can't do yours because you have so many flipping damn games. Through 3 weeks, you have 20 games.
Thank you.
We do 5 a week.
Which to me, means I missed one because I did 6 one week and 7 twice.
You know what a pain in my ass you are, me typing all these out to send over to Felipe?
No, it's first world problems.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Yeah. Before a spectacular Saturday and hopefully a surprising Sunday because the slate doesn't look all that good. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. For those interested, the U.S. women went 4-0 this morning in alternate shot in the first day of the Solheim Cup. They'll play best ball this afternoon. Mark, I have to admit, I'm surprised you're not into this. Live golf at 2:30 in the morning. You love your live sporting events. You could put it on the Golf Channel right now all morning. Got the same thing, tomorrow and Sunday. You could wake up to some golf. And they wrap themselves around the flag and everything. No?
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Women's golf, while I love watching them swing, I think their swings are the ones that you would want to mimic for most amateurs playing golf because they swing so easy, and it's a joy to watch them play the game. And I'm actually looking forward to, in these parts, we've got the CME coming up here in a couple of weeks. I was actually talking to some people about going. The Solheim Cup just doesn't do it for me.
See, and I'm interested because we're actually the underdog. Europe's won the last 2, and they've got the most experienced team. Their captain said that might be their best team ever. So, I'm curious. U.S. in the role of underdog, I'm in, baby. You name the sport, I'm in. Besides, I'm hoping the women then need to inspire the men Win in Europe and then look at the men and go, your turn. Hello. But anyway.
$21,000's the text line, Miller and Moulton.
We got Felipe in the play of the day coming up. This is the part of the show the last couple Fridays where I challenge you that there are more games on the schedule that are interesting than what you think. We could eliminate this segment this Friday because this Saturday is so damn good. I mean, we have 3 Pac-12 matchups of ranked teams. Everybody knows about Dion taking on Oregon. Got UCLA, Utah, got Oregon State, Washington State. And we know Florida State, Clemson, Ohio State, Notre Dame, even a little Iowa, Penn State action, which, 30, 40 people will watch. I'll be there. I'll be watching for you. But tell me if these games interest you at all. Undefeated North Carolina is visiting Pitt.
A little bit of interest. I don't think Pitt's all that good.
And they're off to a 1-2 start to back that thought up. LSU hosting Arkansas. By the way, that's the Saturday night primetime ESPN game.
I am curious about that one because, Arkansas just got done getting beat by BYU, but BYU, that's a big football team. They're men.
Right.
So I want to see what Arkansas can bring back. I think LSU, they looked really good against Mississippi State. Really good, David.
Well, and they're favored by 17.5. By the way, you mentioned BYU, undefeated. Kansas, undefeated. Conference matchup. It's weird saying undefeated Kansas talking about football, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, when Mark Mangino was there, it wasn't weird. But now it's weird.
What's more unusual, Kansas undefeated or Kansas versus BYU is a conference game?
And Kansas is a 9.5-point favorite. You might hear that game coming up. And undefeated Syracuse hosting Army, a different looking Army team. They threw the ball 17 times last week. They may join a conference. Can Syracuse actually start out 4-0 in football? Is that allowed? Without Donovan McNabb at quarterback, is that allowed? And Auburn at A&M, because I feel like the next SEC loss could be the last for Jimbo.
Man, oh man, I'm only interested if Auburn can get a lead in that game, and then I might just tune it in and watch that game and that game only, David, for the reasons that you just described. But I even look, I'll have the multiple TVs going, and I'm going to pay attention to UCF and K-State Saturday night. I want to see, without Plumlee, what they have. Why that's 3.5 is beyond me.
You're going to hear that game coming up in about 15 minutes. I'll tell you that, because it's beyond me also. But then again, I couldn't understand the Oklahoma State South Alabama line. And South Alabama went into Stillwater and beat Oklahoma State by 4 touchdowns. And apparently I found out afterwards that there's a mutiny within the team. That the team's ready to walk out on Gundy. That's how much they hate him. And apparently nobody's getting any NIL at Oklahoma State. See, T-Boone died. And he died before they set up the whole NIL thing. And apparently nobody's getting anything at Oklahoma State. So, Mark, apparently 50 guys are getting ready to get up and leave. That's the inside word at Oklahoma State.
Pay the man his money.
Thank you. Thank you. Worked in Rounders, works in college sports.
Yes, it does. May not like it. I don't know if 2 days don't go by where I don't run into someone that says NIL has ruined college football for me.
Right. Yep. It sure has. Record ratings, by the way. Record early season ratings. All right. Yes. And this Saturday, you're not interested at all.
Not one bit.
Killing the sport. They're going to go from 4 teams to 12 in a playoff. Yes, the sport is dying. Absolutely dying. It's men's tennis in the United States. Yes, just around the corner.
Time now for our play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us?
Well, the football giants were rolled over once again last night by the San Francisco 49ers. And Christian McCaffrey, part of the reason of their success, he scored his 12th straight touchdown.
At the 4-yard line. 2 receivers to the left, motion from Samuel to the right. McCaffrey in the backfield. Purdy gets the shotgun snap, gives to McCaffrey. McCaffrey up the middle and into the end zone for the touchdown. For the 12th straight game, Christian McCaffrey puts 6 on the board and a 16-3 lead for San Francisco.
Call there given to you by Westwood One. It's a sure thing that Christian McCaffrey will give you a touchdown, as he also joins Jerry Rice as the only 49ers to start their first 3 games with 100 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown in each of those games.
And I think Rice is the only other Niner to score a touchdown in that many consecutive games. You know, Mark, this just in. You get mentioned in the same sentence with Jerry Rice. That's really good.
We've discussed it on the show that Christian McCaffrey is probably one of maybe 2 running backs who, if they retired right now, they'd probably be Hall of Famers. The other being Derrick Henry.
Probably. It's not necessary. It's close on both.
Yeah, I think Henry is. I don't think McCaffrey is yet.
After this year, he will be.
If he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy, of course.
If he stays healthy.
I mean, right now he's on pace to have over 2,200 yards from scrimmage.
And listen, we all talk about the Trey Lance trade. They got McCaffrey in a trade too. I mean, Lynch and Shanahan have gotten a few of these trades right. They got one really wrong, historically wrong, but they have gotten a few right.
Right, historically wrong, but they're still playing at the highest level because they got lucky with Purdy. Back to what we talked about in the first part of the show, David. You don't just need luck on the field, you need a little luck off the field.
Right.
And they got lucky in the draft. There's no 2 ways to say it. I mean, when you draft Mr. Irrelevant and he becomes your starting quarterback, you got lucky.
And in the salary cap era, Mark, it may even be luckier to get 4 years of a quarterback play at a high level for less than $1 million. Whew. Wow.
Get your popcorn out. Miller and Moulton are making picks. I'll do 5. David will do somewhere between 7 and 67 picks. That's next. The Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Need a big upset this weekend. Need a big NFL upset. Need somebody with a big number to lose outright. No, Dallas, Dak really liked Greer. That was just the trade.
That was Jerry Jones. That was all Jerry Jones, and he said it. But yeah, they claimed they traded for Trey Lance, and they announced the day before the final preseason game, we're going to cut Will Greer, make room for Trey, and they let Will play the entire final preseason game. He tore it up, got picked up by the Bengals practice squad, and now the Patriots signed him to be their backup quarterback. Well, he was in Dallas for a while. He was just third string. I thought I slept well too.
Did you watch any of the game?
I watched the first half, most of it. Oh, Ambien, I don't know who said he was going to be really good in the NFL. I mean, he was a bit of a journeyman college quarterback because of the ridiculous suspension he got. I mean, he wasn't a high round draft pick. He was pretty good at West Virginia. I mean, but
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Day 4 of our Shape Up, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And that means we have a poll question every damn day, and we have it early, like by 6:30. And today's poll question is, so does this Coach Prime phenomenon continue? Because they're going head-to-head with Alabama at 3:30 tomorrow. Both games on network television, one on ABC, the other on CBS. Head-to-head, Alabama doesn't lose head-to-head. Network to network, no way. Been a part of the SEC on CBS since 2006. Nick took over in 2007. Got good in 2008. Last 15 years, Nick's never lost head-to-head. He's never been on CBS at 3:30 and not won the time slot.
Right now in our small poll, very limited numbers, little more than 3 of 4 of you are watching, more interested in Colorado, Oregon than Alabama, Ole Miss. About 76% saying they're more interested in Coach Prime.
So that's our poll question. Which one you more interested in? Dion, 21-point underdogs are the Buffaloes at Oregon. And I think there's a decent chance Oregon covers. And Nick, just a 7-point home favorite against Lane and Ole Miss. Alabama's dynasty is teetering. Clemson's dynasty in the ACC is teetering. Notre Dame with a chance to make a huge statement and go, get ready for us in the playoff, boys. It's a monster Saturday. And with that as the backdrop, let's pick some games.
Let's pick some games, David. Since we had a winning week last week with me going first, I say just like in the golf tournament, whoever hits first keeps hitting first if you have a winning week. So I'll take the tee if you don't mind, David.
Go for it. Your winning percentage was better than mine anyway, 60% to 57. So go.
I'm taking Oregon, and I'm laying the 21.
Yet you're going to watch.
Oh, I'm more interested now in how Dion handles losing than I am watching them win another game.
Okay.
And if they get blown out, I might even be more interested. To the handshake, the post-game comments. Oh, yeah. All Dion all the time, David. I'm in. But I'm taking Oregon and laying 21.5.
So are the networks, Mark. So are the networks.
I'm going to ride this Washington thing until it proves it's wrong. 20.5's the number. Cal's not a very good team. Washington's trying to get their quarterback a Heisman. They're playing really well right now. They're scoring against everyone. It's not even 3 touchdowns. I'll take Washington.
You could, if we're just doing the whole, and we only do this in college football, if you want to do that whole style points thing, who week in, week out has looked the best this year? Wouldn't you argue that the 3 most impressive top 15 teams, week in, week out so far this year, put them in whatever order you want, are Notre Dame, Washington, and Penn State? There's not been even a B performance, I don't think, from any of those 3 schools yet. It's been at least B plus or higher.
And I know what you're saying. The Florida State performance against LSU was so good. I know they had a trip up against BC that they just kicked the ball around for a while. So
right. Like Florida State was on the list when it was 31-10 late third quarter.
Right. Then the receiver throws the ball on the ground. All of a sudden it's running in the end zone and we have a game.
Right. And then, they fell all over themselves for an hour. The team that is yet to have a bad hour. Washington, Mark, I don't know if anybody's looked better than Washington has so far this year.
I didn't have the guts to play the Florida State Clemson game. I just didn't have it, and I apologize. I should have the guts to do it, but I didn't. I, however, had the guts to take Notre Dame plus 3. I think the quarterback's the difference. I'm scared a little bit by how well Ohio State played last week. I'm going to chalk that up to Western Kentucky's defense being hot garbage. That Notre Dame is just a better roster. They'll be able to slow Ohio State and their young quarterback down enough. I'm going to take the better quarterback. I'm getting 3 points. Give me Notre Dame.
My guess is you like that game a lot more 2 days ago when it was 3.5.
A lot more. A lot more. All right, to Sundays we go. New England beats the Jets when they play them. 14 in a row.
Right.
Listening to an interview in which a former Patriot said, no. Jets week's a big week. He wants to humiliate them every time that he plays them. He hates the Jets. 2.5's the number. Who's quarterback for the Jets?
That would be Zach Wilson, Mark, and this just in, he sucks.
Yes, he does. Will he get them to bore? If 2.5's the over-under for how many points he scores for the Jets, you may still go under in this game. But I will take New England and lay the 2.5. And finally, David.
Hold on. You heard Mark Miller correctly, ladies and gentlemen. The 0-2 Patriots are a road favorite. That's how much the Jets quarterback sucks. But he's their guy. They don't need to replace him. Don't need to get anybody else. No, we're good. Nothing to see here. We're fine.
And David gave us the nugget on the Cowboys, that they are the best team in the NFL against the spread over the past couple of years. And the bigger the spread, the better the Cowboys are. Arizona is going to be on the clock. I'm going to lay the 11 and watch Dallas beat up on the Arizona Cardinals. Give me the Cowboys minus 11.
That's a little lower than I last saw it at. All right, good for you to get it so low. Okay, I've seen it as high as 12.5. So, all right. So look, pay attention to that one closely. That one's good though. I like that. Mark and I do have one game in common, so I can state with authority that the Patriots jet streak will end.
We're money. Stop it.
Because I too, there's a couple of NFL picks that I made, Mark. I'll start there. There's a couple of NFL picks that I made because, well, trends. The Patriots have won 14 in a row against the Jets. So all they have to do is cover 2.5. Zach Wilson. There's a pick six waiting to happen. So I'll take New England. Why? 14 in a row. And here's a little stat of the day. Dun, dun. Mark, you know how many times Trevor Lawrence and the Jags have covered as a home favorite in 2+ years with the Jags? How many times?
Not many.
How about 0?
Wow.
How about 0? How about 0? And the Texans have won their last 5 games in Jacksonville. It makes no sense whatsoever. None. That's why you take the Texans and the 9. Some places it's 8.5. And I'm either going to go 6-1 or better this week, or I am going to go 0-7 because I am doing something that no one should ever do. Ever. And that is bet on the LA Chargers. That's right. You heard me. The same guy who chastised my co-host for 2 days last week because he once again fell down the rabbit hole of picking the Chargers for the playoffs. And I berated him about it. I can argue that picking them to make the playoffs is one thing. Picking them to not start 0-3 is another. Let's be honest. Despite the fact the Chargers are one of the 5 worst coached teams in the league, who has more talent? Chargers or Vikings? The Chargers. All right. Who has a running game and who doesn't? Chargers have the running game. Vikings do not. All right. Quarterbacks, not even. Okay. That's how well Cousins is playing, by the way. All right. The Vikings have 1 receiver, might be the best in the league. Okay. Chargers have 2. It's a pick 'em. Chargers are getting 1 in some places. I'm taking the Chargers. It's the uniforms. I love the uniforms. I'm sorry. I do have a soft spot for them in the uniforms. Okay. Hate the coach. Love the unis. Taking the Chargers. All right. To Saturdays we go. I am taking Florida State and laying the 2. I have the guts. I have the onions. Because last week I picked the Gators to win. Did I bet them? No. No guts. No onions. No risk it. No biscuit. No guts. No glory. This week I have the guts. We'll see if we get the glory. Why is UCF only a 3.5-point dog at K-State? K-State was ranked 15th in the country just last week. Missouri's not awful. They're not. They're going to be a bowl-eligible SEC team. They went to Missouri. They went toe-to-toe. They lost on a 61-yard field goal, the longest in SEC history on the final play of regulation. They're not a – UCF is without their starting quarterback, and they're on the road. And the only team they played with a pulse this year, they were lucky to win at Boise 18-16. I get K-State healthy, coming off a loss at home, only having to beat UCF by 3.5. What am I missing here? I thought the line might be 9. Speaking of 9, Kansas is a 9.5-point favorite in football. In football against an undefeated BYU team. Now, Kansas has a quarterback, I will say, and they got a coach. Mark, Kansas 4-0? And my other pick is Syracuse 4-0? Really? And even if both win to go to 4-0, can they both cover? Kansas 9.5 against BYU, Syracuse 13 against my beloved Army. I think Army's got the shot at an upset. So anyway, I'm taking the road teams to the points here. Maybe Kansas and Syracuse both start out 4-0, but they got to cover. I dare you.
So BYU and Kansas and Army and Syracuse, make sure we get to 7 picks for David. That's where we're going. I love it.
Yeah.
The passing attack of Army.
Yeah, that's right. You heard it. 17 pass attempts last week. Nursing a 2-score lead late third quarter, 3rd and 3 near midfield. They threw the ball. Honestly, I almost fell down and hit my head.
And BYU seeing if they can out-muscle Kansas after they did it to Arkansas a week ago.
Right. Like, come on, they just beat Arkansas at Arkansas. They can't go to Kansas and lose by less than 10? Come on. What am I missing?
And I love the K-State game because that line just doesn't see. I don't understand that line whatsoever.
Oh, I'd love to be wrong. Let me tell you something. If Gus and UCF go to K-State and win their first Big 12 road game, that'd be, with a backup quarterback, that'd be big. K-State won the Big 12 last year. They're preseason top 20. That'd be big.
That would be announcing your presence with authority.
Got that right. There's a new sheriff in town.
Damn right.
And he resides in Orlando. That's what that sucker would say. By the way, I have the guts with Florida State. I didn't have the guts with our beloved South Florida. They're getting 2.5 at home against Rice.
I thought about it. He's played hard.
Yep. But, no moral victories, Mark. He actually talked me out of it. Okay. If he had let us give them a moral victory, I might have taken the 2.5. But since, moral victories don't count, okay, they're for losers. Well, South Florida's only beaten one 1A team in the last 3 years, so I'm making them beat a second.
I'm right there with you, David. It's more of a prove it. Rooting for them, want to see it happen, but they've got to prove it first. And I didn't have the guts to do it. I did have the guts to take Notre Dame over Ohio State.
And I have the guts to take Florida State over Clemson. So there. Our necks are on the line, so to speak, in the two biggies. And look at Mark betting against Coach Prime, thinking this is the woodshed game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think the next 2 weeks are going to be rough for Coach Prime.
You mean you think that Oregon USC daily double may come back to bite them?
Well, and Eugene, they can be nasty there. This is going to be a big deal. This game's been circled in Eugene, and I think they are going to be big time up for it. Pat Kirwan, we're always up for him. He's next on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay. There's yeah. Do you have a knife?
No, but I don't think I'll need one.
I'll get you a knife. You have a fork? On a fork? You bet. You send Pat a link? We good?
Oh crap! I didn't even put him on. There he is. Hi, Pat.
Hey guys, I was sending you notes. You were
Sorry.
like, that's all right, but you were daydreaming away there, space size watching.
Yeah, I was typing stuff to get on our website.
And you know, I thought David was gone, and you were not moving one muscle in your body. I go, oh my God, they're frozen.
I'm typing my wife a note, and I'm going, well, maybe Pat's having trouble connecting.
No, I'm good.
No, he was in there halfway through the last interview.
I always come on like if I'm available, I come on at 45. I like to hear David sacrifice his reputation for the Chargers.
Mark
it's
does
so
it
funny.
for the
I
season.
almost picked him too, and I said if I pick him, he is going to crush me.
So I'll take the bullet this week.
Yeah, and I love the final analysis. I really love the uniforms. Yeah.
Chargers have the better defense. Quarterbacks are even. Chargers have a running game. Minnesota
They could be 90 pass plays.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And at this day and time on a Football Friday, we welcome in Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains with co-host Jim Miller. They do 3 to 7 Monday through Friday, and while the NFL is playing games, they do 2 to 5 on Saturday. Just for the heck of it. Pat then on Sundays works for CBS's NFL Today show, so he gets a lot of time off over the next 5 months. But he joins us anyway, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine, fellas. And, you guys work just as hard as I do. The football thing is like it never ends. You just keep going. And the games keep coming. And whether you have Amazon Prime or not, they keep playing on Thursdays.
Well, and Brock Purdy keeps winning during the regular season, Pat. What do you make of Brock Purdy and what he's accomplished for the Niners?
I talked to Tony Baselli about this subject yesterday, and Tony and I agreed that it's Drew Brees-like, and other people are saying that, so it's not original thought. But I always like to watch a guy with a name in my mind and see if I feel that way at the end of the game, and I do. He's a rhythm passer. He likes throwing from the midline. He's not tall. He's got a nice release. He doesn't seem to get balls blocked. He's got a ton of weapons, and he's got a mad scientist for a head coach who knows exactly how to use them. They're loaded.
A lot of similarities to Breeze when he went to New Orleans, and the mad scientist was Sean Payton. Pat, are you and your co-host Jim Miller a little surprised that physically he seems to look an awful lot like the guy before he got hurt against Philadelphia? That was a major injury to his throwing elbow. He went with what's called radical procedure, riskier procedure, not as invasive. He seems okay.
He does. It's not baseball where you're going to throw and no one's going to come out and try to blow you up. So we'll see if he can withstand some beatings, but right now he's got so many weapons and it's hard to get to him. So look, this happens once in a generation, if you will, that we find a Brady and we find a Brock Purdy. Maybe Chicago's going to find Tyson Badgett, who I still think is going to be a good player in this league. So they're hard to find. They got one, and they've already done something that other teams should do. Recognize your mistake and move on. And they did.
Well, are we realizing it was a mistake in Chicago, or was Justin Fields right in that coaching's part of the problem as well?
Justin Fields, to me, stuck his foot in his mouth, and he's going to have no way to win on that one. Now, the TV stations love it because they get a chance to throw a lot of mud at coaches. but the player really has to do a lot better. I had a coach call him an imposter to me yesterday, and he doesn't read defenses. He can't find his way through progressions. And the scary fact on those 101 sacks in 29 games is 80 of them he had 4 seconds. So I brought that up to a number of quarterbacks, and they were like laughing. Like, you got sacked after 4 seconds. What's the ball doing in your hand? So he's struggling. But the question really is, at the end of the season, are you putting the option on him? No. And you really have to ask yourself at the end of this season, and I'd give him the whole season, barring injury, did he pull himself out of the fire? Because he's in one right now, and I don't know. I would not think he's going to be the guy who's going to take him to the promised land. He is being outplayed and outdueled by Mitch Trubisky's statistics in the same time period. So if you run Mitch Trubisky out, how do you keep this guy?
Well, they had the first overall pick of the draft. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you had to take a quarterback, but they had the first pick of the draft and traded it away and moved down pretty significantly, actually, to make sure that quarterback wasn't their choice. How much of that do you think was they weren't enamored with the top 2 or 3 quarterback choices? Or if they had it to do over again 5 months later, do you think they'd pick first?
Well, you are talking about the team that passed on Mahomes, so we can start from there.
Now, yes, but I will say, Pat, when they passed, people that day were criticizing them for passing on Watson. I mean, none of us saw Mahomes becoming what he's becoming, which is one of the 10 best to ever play the position.
Well,
but
I
he
can say
chose the
this.
different ACC quarterback than Watson. That's what most of us went, what the hell are they doing?
Right. So just throw another guy on the example of their decision-making process. So, no, I think, look, hindsight's always 20/20. We all know it. You can look back and say, now, do you learn from looking back? When they look back on the Trubisky one, did they learn when they got to the Fields one? It looks like they didn't. Yeah, we can say different front office, same ownership. They have – what's the history in Chicago? You're the historian, David. How often have they been right on quarterbacks?
Well, but could you then, and the answer obviously is they're 0 for 40 years, but because they're 0 for 40 years, I mean, Pete kept spending resources on quarterbacks, and then, year 3, 3rd round pick, boom, he got it right. Nobody remembers he gave Matt Flynn $10 million at a time in which that was outrageous. Okay, and he traded a 3rd round pick for the 3rd stringer with the Chargers. He got Russell Wilson right. That's all that matters.
Right. So you tell me. You be the GM for a second. Are you keeping Fields? First off, are you giving him the option bonus?
Oh, well, hell no.
Are you keeping him?
That's done.
Are you starting the process for a new quarterback at the end of this season?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, you got 2 first-round picks. They're going to be high first-round picks, and there's quarterbacks in this draft. Hell, you may have the first overall pick again, Pat.
They're working on it.
Well, how about this? And we've got a Bears fan in our Twitch chat room who's like, listen, I want them to throw Badgett in. Let's get the audition for him and see whether or not he's our Purdy.
I think they will do that at the end of the season. The math will be against them. They won't have a very good record, and they'll get Badgett on the field for a game or two. I talked to Badgett's uncle yesterday. He goes, Pat, I trust your opinion. Is it too early to put him in? I said, well, he doesn't control it. You don't control it. I don't control it. And they still have to figure out about Fields. So they're not going to your guy yet, but he'll get his time. He'll get a little playing time at the end. And he won't be the answer, but they're going to keep him. And look, they wouldn't even cut him for the practice squad. They were afraid someone was going to take him.
New England's beaten the Jets 14 times in a row. Bill can play it down. They weren't on this year's team, that year's team, but he obviously takes Jets week. From listening to other old Patriot players talk, he takes this week very seriously. They're going to humiliate the Jets, aren't they?
Well, the Jet defense is going to hang around and keep them in the game. But, Bill takes every day of his life seriously. If you know him, I know him pretty well. He's like, no days off is his job. And Yeah, I think they'll play him real well. I think, Mac Jones is starting to throw the ball better than everyone thought. OB's got him going. So I don't think they'll humiliate him, though. That defense is just a little too good.
I may be just beating my head against the wall here, and feel free to, hit me yourself. But if you're the Jets,
I can't hit you after I watch the wedding video. That's the fact.
if you're the Jets and you lose at home to the 0-2 Patriots this year, don't you have to end the Zach Wilson charade? I mean, honest, Pat, Quinnen Williams may go to Joe Douglas's office and trash it if they don't do something, if they lose Sunday.
Well, they should have done something right away.
Well, I know that.
And I made that comment right away.
I know, but
night.
wouldn't Saturday really be the line of demarcation? If they can't win Sunday, don't you have to end the charade?
I would think so. As I said, I would have done it earlier. So why would I change my opinion now? They have a team good enough to be a wild card contender. And if they get the right guy, I would have signed Carson Wentz. We talked about that last week. Wouldn't have thought twice about doing it. He'd love to come here. He's not going to cost a lot. Put him on a 1-year deal, and he showcase his talents. That's what he'd think, and on his way to getting something else next year. So with that defense and the running game, yeah, I would have done it. And I will do it on Monday morning.
Dolphins get Denver. Denver's desperate. They're 0-2. Does it matter, or is Miami that good offensively? I know you have to worry about every team, but what have you seen in Denver that would make you scared of them at 0-2 right now? Anything, Pat?
Yeah, I think Sean Payton, look, he's a very good coach. He is trying to figure out how to get the most out of his team and Russell at the same time, modifying the play call. And I don't understand why he had a long-winded play calls as it was. He's coming into a place, he's got a limited off-season, limited camp. And, I was in one of these situations where I was asked to modify our language. And so what happens? Coaches that have been around, like that game book of his was modified by him and Drew Brees. Well, this isn't Drew Brees for starters. Drew Brees over years landed up being very comfortable in it. But you get these guys in the new ones. Boomer Esiason's got a photographic memory. When he came to us in a totally different language, it was hard. Brett Favre told me when he got to the Jets that he could not see the play in his mind's eye. This was halfway through the season, and he was playing well. He goes, "Nah, I'm still calling words." And that's the whole thing. You got to be able to put these guys on the field where when the quarterback calls a play, he sees the whole play in his mind's eye. And I don't think they're there yet. Not taking Russell off the hook, but Russell's in better shape. Russell's running better. Sean Payton will clean this up and make them dangerous.
And there's a possibility of no Jalen Waddle on Sunday for the Dolphins. Pat, in 30 seconds, if the Chargers lose and fall to 0-3, could we have a coach get fired?
My philosophy on that is if I decide to keep you for the year, I'm going to keep you for the year. Could they fire him? Yeah, you listen to his press conferences. I felt last week he was a little defensive in like trying to support himself, the defense. They're just not playing good enough defense. But I don't know. Wait, I don't know their staff well enough to see if there's an alternative on the staff.
Kellen Moore's the OC, right? But then again,
please.
He's Pat Kirwan.
Let's get another guy who's never been a head coach before.
Well, it's the Chargers, Pat. They don't like to spend money on coaches. Moving the chains.
I'm sure the defense will get much better with Kellen Moore, overseeing the D.
Dadgum, good point. He joins us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. More with Pat after this.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Pat, when you heading back this way?
Absolutely November 1st. I got a bunch of stuff all of that first week in November. I might come down a little earlier than that. If I see a bad week of weather up here, rain and stuff, I'll jump on a plane and go down. I got 1 million frequent flyer miles.
You might not have a good Sunday.
Yeah, we're getting ready for one of those rain in 5 cities things. Yep. But I got a lot of stuff to do up here, Mark. Just wrapping up the little lake house. That takes like a bunch of days. I'm taking the docks out this week. I just got the boats out, all that nonsense. And then just starting to bundle up the house, because when I leave, I don't come back, so it's there's a lot of things that have to get resolved. I got one massive tree. My house is at the bottom of a hill, a mountain, really. We're 1,000 feet above sea level. But I really would like to take that tree out before I leave so it doesn't fall on the house. And getting these guys in there to do it I'm negotiating with 2 guys now. Well, I don't know if we can get to it. I said, well, that's fine. Next guy, please. I can't worry about your schedule. Can you take this tree out? Yeah, I'd take that one out myself. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm asking you to do. You're just confirming what I've already told you about. It's massive. And if it fell down on the house, and the way that tree is grown, it's kind of sloped towards the house. Not good. I'm turning all my properties over to my kids. Now I live in them and they own them.
Including Florida?
Yeah. So I got enough stuff that Sean wanted the lake house and Elizabeth wants the Florida house. So usually what I do is I land up, first off, paying the expenses while the house is in their name, and then somewhere and now Elizabeth's up to the point of paying half the bills. So you got to work your way into this if you want that one. And then Elizabeth, Annie hasn't figured out what she wants yet, but we'll figure out something for her. I saw when my parents died and when Janet's parents died, everything was still in all their names. That was a disaster.
Exactly. It's all my mom and my mother, like my mother-in-law did that with Eve. My mom did that with me a long time ago.
Yep.
And then because my parents were divorced, and she said, make sure with your dad that you're on his checking. He didn't own a house, he was renting, but I was on all his accounts, so it made life a lot easier when he passed.
What's that process like of getting someone that is past? Like, what if their name is under it?
It goes in. It depends on what their will is.
Right.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
If you got your will tightened up, it's not a problem. If not, then it can be big problems.
Right. Like if you don't legally have a will,
it goes to probate and takes time, and it's a big pain in the ass.
Yeah, and you're going to pay taxes and everything else. Some people can't afford to even keep the house when it goes that way. So it's not a lot of rich stuff here, but it's but I got burned and I saw what happened, so we're not doing that. It's actually quite comforting to not own anything. it's quite relaxing. I'm watching my grandson's tournament. I mean, the kid never goes to school. He's in Pittsburgh this weekend, and they started playing yesterday, Thursday.
How old is he now?
15.
14. Okay.
14. So he's doing good. They've lost one game, and they lost that in overtime. They're 9-1.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour." Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And we're talking with Pat Kirwan since it's the 8 o'clock hour on a Friday. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. All right, 9 undefeateds. Niners now 3-0. The other 8 2-0. Is there a 2-0 team that you're still hesitant about? Only 2 unbeatens in the AFC, believe it or not, Miami and Baltimore. And then you got the logjam in the NFC. Dallas, Philly, Washington, Atlanta, New Orleans, Tampa, and the 3-0 Niners. Who aren't you sold on?
I like Atlanta, but I'm not sold on them. I talked to Arthur. The young quarterback has done okay. Hasn't won a road game yet, so they're on the road this week. You go look at who they've played now that the teams are revealing themselves, not completely yet, but they're revealing themselves as to who they are and how good or not. So I worry a little bit about Atlanta holding on. This is a tough game for them going to Detroit. So that's one of them. I'm a little bit on Washington. I don't know that I really any of these teams that are playing with a young quarterback. I have some doubts about them sustaining that stuff. I'm not worried about some of the other ones. San Francisco looks like the team to beat in the league. So New Orleans, Carr has broken our hearts before. So those are the ones I think holding up. And I don't think they ever thought they were going to stay undefeated. But those are the ones I off the top of my head, I worry about. But I do think a lot more about the 0-2 teams, to tell you the truth, and what's going on with them and how many of them. There's a lot more 0-2s right now than there were last year. Last year, I believe at this time we had 4 or 5, and this time I think we're sitting here with 9 teams that are 0-2.
And the Chargers and Vikings playing one another, so one of them gets off that. But a lot of these 0-2 teams are big underdogs this week, Pat.
Yeah, the double-digit. You and I talk about this, Mark. The double-digit point spreads. You don't see a lot of them, but I think we have counting last night, we probably had 3. And in a lot of ways, Houston was at 9.5, which is basically double digits. So you have a lot of them in there, and you wonder, what are they telling us? So this year, it looks to me like we're more at the top and more at the bottom, and the middle is not as populated as it has been in the past.
All right, let's get to some of these games. An interesting one, Tennessee and Cleveland. We all know what's going on with both. The Chubb injury for the Browns. We wonder if they can get over that this year. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, you picked a nice tough game. The point spread's gone down. It was 4.5 to start. It's 3.5 and moving around a little bit. I don't know. When I look at Deshaun Watson, I've reported this on this show since the summer camp tour. He just doesn't look like he's there yet. Is it getting better a little at a time? Yeah, I would agree to that. But he doesn't look as twitchy as he has been, and he still looks a little unsure of himself. And losing Chubb, although Ford looked pretty good, I worry about them. I don't worry about them on defense. As long as they don't incur a ton of injuries, they're okay. Tennessee, they're not a team that anyone likes. They're not nationally recognized. They're kind of a boring offense, but they play pretty tough on defense. And Autry and those guys and Simmons, those are two nasty tackles. So if you're weak inside, they can break you down.
I'm really interested in the Atlanta-Detroit game because you already mentioned Atlanta going on the road, but Detroit lost last week. That defense didn't look very good against Kansas City. Kansas City killed themselves against Detroit, and Seattle was able to move the ball at will against Detroit. Will Atlanta be able to have success offensively against that Detroit defense?
No, because I think Detroit's strength on defense is the run defense. And what's Atlanta want to do? They'd like to run the ball every play of the game if they could. They want their quarterback, and I talked to Arthur about this yesterday. They're very comfortable throwing the ball 20 to 25 times a game. They have a two-headed monster in the backfield. Yeah, they'll throw to those guys, but they really, really want to run the ball. And Detroit's strength, in my opinion, on defense is the run defense. So I like Detroit in the game.
There's some crazy things going on in the league, even with teams who are 1-1. The Chiefs have only scored 37 points through 2 games. The Seahawks are giving up 61%. All right, success rate defensively on third down. I mean, should we get concerned about some of these teams?
Yeah, Pete's concerned about his own team, so I would be too. 61% on third down is astronomical. I don't think anyone's within 5 or 7% of them. They're so far on the bottom that no one can even get to them. That part of it's scary. He did achieve something without his starting tackles last week on offense, and Geno had a good day. So I like them on offense. The defense, now, they kind of stuffed the run. It's interesting. If they're a contradiction. They stuff the run. I think they're holding people under 3 yards a carry. They don't rush the passer very well, and they can't get off the field on third down. It's like, why would you run against them? I'd be throwing every down. Now the question is, can Carolina do that? I don't think so.
Pittsburgh hasn't won on the road against the Raiders in like forever. Now I know they don't play every year and how schedules go, but the Steelers and the Raiders Sunday night, Pittsburgh's offense has looked awful. Vegas hasn't looked that good. How do you see this one, Pat?
I like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's efficient, to say the least. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but he doesn't make a lot of plays either. I will not go against Pittsburgh. The Raiders have not created a home field advantage in their new stadium. There is some frustration there. I get a lot of negative calls from Raider fans about they don't own their place. A little bit alarming about Josh Jacobs. What the heck was last week? -2 yards rushing. So he's not playing yet the way he should. And I think is he 1.6? David will know. He's under 2 yards a carry.
And that run defense got gashed against the Jets the previous week with Zach Wilson handing the ball off. That's what was most concerning if you're the Raiders. How come you couldn't pick up where the Jets left off?
Yeah, they're not near the kind of defense they are. But yellow flags is one of the things I keep an eye on. So what's on the yellow flag list for Pittsburgh? Only 2 trips in the red zone in 2 games. 31% on third down offense, not good. 7 sacks, terrible. And Najee Harris, 16 carries. That's 8 carries a game. What's going on? What is the identity of this offense? And Matt Canada, he couldn't buy a cup of coffee in Pittsburgh right now. I'd be afraid to get out of my car.
No, they want him out of town. We have 2 minutes left. You talk to Todd Bowles every week.
Yep.
Obviously, he's happy they're 2-0. What else is he saying?
He loves Baker. Now, he recognizes Baker's not a great player. He's not saying it. He just loves his tenacity. He loves his sideline demeanor. the way he is fired up with his players, and he gets the ball in the hands of his two top receivers. You can't say he doesn't, because he's got the big guy, Mike Evans, down, and he's throwing to him, and they're successful. And Godwin's catching the ball as well. So he likes the personality Baker has put into this offense. A lot different now. And I also think Todd's very happy he's alone. No more Bruce Arians around telling him what to do.
And no more of Bruce's staff. Also, I mean, he had Brady running the offense. He had Arians still overseeing the operation with Arians' coaching staff. I mean, he really was not in an ideal spot last year.
Yeah. Now, what do I love about this game? These are the top two run defenses. Number one, Philly. Number two, Tampa. They're going to bang each other's heads, and it's going to come to the quarterbacks and throwing the ball. And Baker could revert right back to some of the ugly ones he's been, but I do like what I've seen from him so far. And he is handling this like it's my last chance to get a big contract. And the head coach, he knows the head coach likes him. I think he's been in a couple places where he realized the head coach couldn't stand him.
And he likes Mike Evans, and Mike Evans seems to like him right now. And that's important because, well, this just in, Mike Evans is really good. We think Pat Kirwan's pretty good, and we want to thank him, as always, Pat, for joining us as he does, courtesy of Pinter's. Enjoy the games this weekend, Pat.
Yep. Take care, fellas. Enjoy them.
Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I have the Solheim Cup on, David. It's riveting. Go through the NFL games here. Make our picks.
So Sports TV Ratings sent out a question yesterday. Higher viewership, Colorado, Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and it's damn near 50-50.
Wow.
That would be.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs cost me money last week. Finished 3 points out of making money in DraftKings, and he was a dud.
That's a bummer. Sure you weren't alone.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
It's our final segment along the network. Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour in the 239. We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. On Fridays, this is where we go through the NFL games. We also make our big picks on the college games of note this weekend. We did our official picks against the number an hour ago. I picked 7 games because I'm living in the past. This is our third act. In our first 2 acts, we used to do a Super 7. Mark is living in the present. Okay. We narrowed this down to a fantastic 5. In fact,
In our second act.
In our second act. I think we started it with a Super 7, narrowed it down to a fantastic 5. And, Mark is living in the present, and that's why he's doing a lot better, because I'm living in the past. Mark's had back-to-back weeks, but winning weeks, by the way. Okay. I had a winning week in September, though, and that hadn't happened since like the Clinton administration. So, I'm actually feeling pretty good about myself. But all right, let's throw the game. This strange NFL weekend. Got to be honest. You know how sometimes this works out. It doesn't look good on paper. It ends up being terrific. I hope that's the case because we got some strange games.
Well, let's start with the Sunday games in state, Houston and Jacksonville. I know you picked Houston plus the 9.5, whatever it's at there. Are you taking Houston to win the game outright?
Well, no. If that happened, I have the Jags as the 1 seed, for goodness sake. But for whatever reason, Just like Jacksonville struggles mightily in Indianapolis, and remember, week 1, they were trailing with 6 minutes to go in that one. The Jags have lost 5 straight at home to the Texans for whatever reason. I know it's a big deal. The Jags didn't even complete a pass in the red zone last week. They ran 12 plays in the red zone, and Trevor Lawrence was 0 for 8. So that's been a big topic of conversation in Jacksonville territory. Houston's, they've had injuries at offensive tackle. Stroud's played pretty well, though. Texans' defense is not as good as I thought it would be to start the year, although Will Anderson has looked good. But, yeah, the Jags will win.
And I take Jacksonville as well in this game. Miami and Denver, how much of a shot do you give the Broncos in this game?
I give them a puncher's chance because, A, the desperation factor, and B, I do think you can defend the Dolphins very differently if Waddle's not on the field. Now you have a chance to try and bracket and do some things with Tyreek. Here's the problem, though. Mark, Denver blew a 3-score lead to Sam Howell in Washington. If they couldn't defend Sam Howell in Washington, how do I think they'll be able to defend Tua, Tyreek, and a multifaceted Dolphins offense, even without Waddle? Hell, they beat New England mostly by running the ball last week. I got to believe Miami wins this game.
I do as well. Love the running game for the Dolphins. I like the fact of how well their offensive line's been playing, keeping Tua clean in these games. And, yeah, you're right. Waddle is obviously it's a huge difference maker if he's not in the game. But I think Miami has enough at home and gets it done. You've already taken the Chargers. You picked the Chargers.
Yeah.
With points involved, even though it's essentially a pickup game.
Right. Tell me the area where Minnesota's better. Besides coaching, because the Chargers might have the worst head coach in the league. Honestly, tell me where Minnesota's better. Quarterbacks, love Kirk Cousins. You know I do. Been pounding the table for Kirk Cousins for 5 years. With Herbert, it's at best a push. All right? Minnesota's got the best receiver in the league. Chargers have 2 receivers. So if you do the wide receiver matchup, it's close. If you want to go edge Minnesota, that's fine. But it's not like the Chargers wide receivers aren't good. They've got 2 really good ones. The Vikings defense is horrible. It's bottom 3 in the league, horrible. The Chargers defense is not playing to its potential, but the Chargers can run the ball. The Vikings can't.
Eckler probably not playing. I mean, I do think that's worth noting.
I'd agree.
Hawkinson's a big deal. You talk about the receivers. You got the rookie with Jefferson who's coming on, and Hawkinson. I would say Minnesota has a better receiving core on the whole than what the Chargers had, although it's close. I think the coaching part is a big deal.
Well, we'll see. Listen, it'll be close. Both these teams play close games. Last year, Minnesota won them. We know the Chargers always lose them.
I'm going to take the Chargers because, well, I have a soft spot for them. And I want to see the Vikings go 0-3 because that could push the Vikings to trade Kirk Cousins to the Jets. At 0-3, they're done.
Listen, don't you think something dramatic happens? Either maybe the Jets pull off a trade for Cousins if the Vikings lose, and if the Chargers lose, we may get a head coach fired?
I think you're on to something there, David, no doubt. Buffalo at Washington. Obviously, the Bills, the better team in this game. Washington's played hard. I mean, they had a tough game against Arizona, and then they come from behind to beat Denver. I'll still take Buffalo in this game because I think Josh Allen figured it out last week, and they're running the ball really well as well.
Listen, one's a contender, one's a pretender. Now, the pretender's got some talent. They got a good defensive line. They got a number 1 receiver. They got a number 1 running back. The young quarterback has got some upside to him. But come on. I mean, if one team's the Super Bowl contender, you go on the road. It's not easy. You win by 6, you get out of town.
Well, this is a game. The next one is 2 pretenders, New Orleans and Green Bay. Which pretender wins the game?
Derek Carr and the Saints are averaging 18 points a game. Yet Jordan Love didn't complete a pass in the fourth quarter last week when they were up 24-12. How differently would we be looking at this game if the Packers had found a way to hold a 12-point fourth quarter lead against Atlanta, and they'd be coming home playing their first home game at 2-0? I mean, I'd like to think at this stage of their careers in a toss-up game, I go with the better quarterback. But I got to admit, Carr's not playing that well so far in New Orleans at all. I'm going to take New Orleans and their defense, Mark. Packers have a lot of injuries. Close.
I'm taking Green Bay close because they're at home, and I know home field means nothing. I'd like to think the first game at Lambeau means something for the Packers, that they can get the horse into the barn this week and finish the game. So I'll take the Packers in what should be a close, low-scoring game. For one of them gets to 24, they win. Atlanta at Detroit. Jared Goff is a better quarterback at home. Detroit, after blowing the game last week against Seattle, making that great comeback to get it to overtime and watch Seattle walk right down the field and score. I don't think Atlanta's good enough offensively to score enough to keep up with Detroit. I think Detroit wins this one because their offense can take over.
A lot of injuries for the Lions, but Kenny Pickett's yet to win a road game. Or, excuse me, Ritter's yet to win a road game. Until he does, I'll take the Lions.
Tennessee at Cleveland.
Cleveland offensively has got some real issues without Chubb. Real issues. If you take that one long run away from Ford where the play was defended and he reversed field and ended up getting like 65 yards, his numbers are pretty pedestrian. And I don't think Kareem Hunt will make an impact here right away. It's a lot tougher to run on Tennessee. They've got a really good defensive line. Man, Deshaun Watson is broken right now. And if it ain't Amari Cooper, he can't complete a pass to anybody else. Either they're not open or he just misses them. I'm going to take Tennessee.
Watson has the best game as a Cleveland Brown, throws for 2 touchdowns. The tight end gets in the game, and Cleveland somehow finds a way to beat Tennessee 21-17. I don't see a lot of points in this game either. Indy and Baltimore, do you give Indy any shot at all?
Not really, no.
We both already picked New England in our games against the point, so if we're laying 2.5, we're both certainly taking the Patriots in that one. Seattle and Carolina, Geno and company get it done last week. I think they get it done against Carolina. Obviously, Carolina doesn't have Bryce Young playing. They're going to Andy Dalton at quarterback.
Which might actually help them this week. And let's see if Seattle's third down defense continues to stay the worst in the league. Jamal Adams getting really close to playing, by the way. I don't think he plays against Carolina. I think he plays a week from Monday at the Giants. Give me Seattle.
I'm assuming you're taking Dallas against Arizona.
Yeah. Although I got to admit, the Diggs injury, it won't hurt them this week. But that, they had 2 guys that they viewed as shutdown corners. That will come back to haunt them against some. I mean, they matched up well against the Eagles in part because they had 2 shutdown corners. All right. That injury could be pretty significant at the end of the year.
And Kansas City, huge number against Chicago. We're both taking the Chiefs in that one. It's just a matter of whether they cover the 13.
Would like to see them score 27, 28, 30 points, though. They scored 20 against the Lions and 17 against the Jags. We're not talking 2 defensive juggernauts here.
Sunday night game, Pittsburgh and Vegas.
Yeah, I can't bet on Vegas. I'm sorry. Can't do it. Can't do it. And I just watched Pittsburgh, and it's ugly. It is really ugly offensively. Matt Canada, it's not working. He needs to be replaced. Okay, the fans are right in this instance. It's not working. They're broken offensively. I think the Raiders may be broken as a franchise.
The Raiders beat Pittsburgh when they play Pittsburgh at home. It's just what they do. I'm not going to mess with the trend here. I'm just going to take Vegas, much like we should have done against Denver earlier in the season, I'll take Vegas in this game.
The one thing I do want to point out, the Steelers defense was on the field for 80 plays. 80. That's 5 quarters worth of football on a Monday night. And now, short week, going on the road, that many plays they had to play. Be curious if the Steelers defense holds up in this one.
We'll talk more about the Monday night games on Monday night, but I'm taking Philadelphia against Tampa. That's contender, pretender. They're 2-0, but I'm not taking the Bucs.
Yeah, although let me tell you, how about the 4 wide receivers in that one? Little Evans, Godwin, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith action.
And the Rams Cincinnati is a tougher game to pick because we don't know who's playing quarterback for Cincinnati.
Hell, they don't know. And they may only have one healthy quarterback on the roster, and his name is Jake Browning. Well, you're picking the Irish. You bet them. You're getting the 3. You're picking Notre Dame. Well, Mark, pretty even game. I think Notre Dame's a little better defensively, and they got the better quarterback, and they're at home. So I think you're right. I don't have the guts to bet it. It's my Gators pick last week when I didn't have the guts to bet it, even though they were getting 6 and they were at home. I said they were going to win, but didn't have the guts to bet it. I'm going to do the same. If you're just asking me to pick a winner, I'll take the Irish.
And I'll take Florida State with you. I just didn't have the guts to make the pull to buck the trend of 7 straight for Clemson, 4 in a row in Death Valley. I still think Florida State gets them. We'll find out noon on Saturday how that one works out as the Noles and Clemson. That's the first of what's just a terrific college football schedule with Florida State, Clemson in that one. Then we have, which is our poll question, by the way, what game at 3:30 are you most interested in? The Oregon-Colorado game or Ole Miss-Alabama? I think Oregon's going to whoop them, but I'm still more interested in Oregon-Colorado. And on the other side of that, boy, it's hard to pick Alabama right now. It really is. But I think going back to the original quarterback, he can run, he can do a few things that Alabama is going to need in that game. And I think Alabama at the end of the day will get the victory over Ole Miss. Don't know if I could lay the 7. I think it's going to be a close, tight game. But at the end of the day, one team knows how to win these games. Ole Miss, until proven otherwise, I don't think Lane can pull it off in a close game. And I think Alabama, now that they've got the proper quarterback playing, I think the offensive line will play better. I think everybody will play better. I think they looked around at South Florida and had the wrong guy in the lineup, and it bothered them. And sometimes teams don't show up based on who's playing. And I thought that was a little bit of what had going on against South Florida last week. I think you're going to see a much bigger performance out of the Crimson Tide when they play against Ole Miss on Saturday. So I think Alabama gets it done, and I think Oregon wins big.
I think Alabama by about the spread too, though. I think it'll be close, but I think you get a much better effort from Alabama. They're favored by 7, by the way.
Miller and Moulton. The Diamond District Bonus Hour is next, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
We brought that up earlier in the week. Why didn't BK take him? I mean, Tommy may have decided. I don't know the particulars, whether or not he was asked or whether or not he was also loyal to Notre Dame. But we did bring that up. I will say, though, it's a very interesting hire by Nick. Very interesting.
Would you trade D-Hop for Kristen Kirk? Fantasy.
I don't think I would. Oh, wait. Trade D-Hop for Christian Kirk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would. But that's not my thing. Just don't listen to me at all when it comes to fantasy. At all.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, the Diamond District bonus hour, final hour of the day and week. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. That's where you go if you miss any part of the show, whether it's Lee Sterling and his picks, whether it was our picks, whether it was Pat Kirwan's NFL wisdom. That's what there was to download from earlier on the show. Miller and Moulton both calling for Notre Dame to beat Ohio State.
Buckeye fan must be really happy right now hearing that type of news.
Jumping up and down for that. Absolutely. We both have Florida State beating Clemson. Knowles fan, very upset with us right now. So, Jets fans should be happy. We both have the Patriots continuing the streak. We keep looking at this from the Jets' point of view. What if the Patriots lose? You've beaten a team twice a year for 7 straight years. What if you lose? With Zach Wilson quarterbacking the Jets? I mean, Patriot fan at 0-3, you start to think this guy's lost it. I can't believe what I'm about to say out loud, but maybe we need to make changes. I mean, come on now. They haven't been 0-2 since 2001. We all know what happened. Young quarterback came off the bench. The rest is history. Come on, you own the Patriots. You tell me. Never mind what you have historically done the whole time you've owned them to the Jets. Outside of one time they beat you in the playoffs. I mean, you have just owned the Jets. More than you've owned maybe any other team in that division. And that includes the Bills. And let me tell you, their record against the Bills is something. You play Robert Kraft for a minute here. You lose to the Jets Sunday. Tell me what you're thinking.
That we're a bad football team.
Okay.
That we're a bad football team, and
Right.
the guy in charge of it has done a horrific job assembling personnel in the last couple of years.
Okay, great. Well, one guy's in charge of the whole organization.
No, I know what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, I'm just listen. The Dolphins fired Don Shula. Now, we could go back and revisit history and say whether or not they should have. Don Shula could still coach. Don Shula messed the Dolphins up with the cap. He wanted one more Super Bowl appearance and win, wanted to do it for Dan, the whole deal. And he, in the very early days of free agency and the cap, he got the Dolphins in a huge, quick hole. They had good teams, though. 92, 93, 94, Dolphins were right there. Right. Hell, they hosted the Bills in the 92 AFC Championship game. Would have played the Bills in the 90, was it 3 or 4? 93, Marino gets hurt. He blows out his Achilles. They're 9-2, 11 games into that season. Okay, Marino blew out his Achilles a few weeks before. They end up losing 5 straight, missing the playoffs. That was a team that was probably worthy of going to the AFC Championship game. And then the next year, they blow a 21-3 lead in the division round to the Chargers and lose by 1, and Stoyanovich shanks a 49-yarder at the gun, or else they're playing the Bills again. They're playing the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Marino would have gone home to play in the AFC Championship game. I mean, they were contenders those first 3 years of free agency with Shula, but he ran them cap into the ground. Don Shula, the GM, got Don Shula, the coach, fired.
And Bill Belichick, the GM, is getting Bill Belichick, the coach, no significant difference makers. They have one. They have one guy on defense that you scheme against. Other than that, they're not a dangerous football team.
No.
And
no.
Mac Jones has no help.
No. I mean, in looking back, they could not afford to get outbid for D-Hop. They just needed to say, listen, we got to do what we got to do. We got to keep him away from Tennessee. We need a weapon. Our quarterback does not have a weapon. You need to score some points to win in this league, particularly in our conference. But I mean, Mark, think about what, if you want to, you know how we have overreaction Monday? Let's have overreaction Friday. Think about what can take place this weekend. Florida State can take the ACC back tomorrow and maybe keep it away from Dabo and Clemson forever. That they'll just be somewhere between second, third, or fourth in the ACC for the next 3 to 5 years. That the Noles go, hey, you've done a hell of a job these last 8+ years. Hell of a job. Congratulations, by the way. We'll take it from here.
Notre Dame wins on Saturday. Then the Big Ten needs Michigan and Penn State to roll if they want to get 2 teams into the playoff, because Ohio State could get in if they run the table. If they do so, they're the only Big Ten team going to the playoff.
And also, let's think about what's happening in Tuscaloosa Saturday afternoon, where apparently more of you are going to be watching Colorado at Oregon.
7 out of 10, David.
Unbelievable. It's our poll question, by the way. It's our poll question. 3:30 Saturday. Which game you more interested in? Colorado, Oregon. Colorado, Oregon. I feel the need to say that out loud slowly. Or Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin against Nick Saban in Alabama. I'm pretty sure I'm right, Mark. Since 2008, Alabama, whenever they air at 3:30 on CBS, has never been beaten in the ratings. I'm willing to bet a large amount of money on that one.
Who do you think wins Saturday?
Well, based on, I have to admit, this poll question scared me. I actually thought this poll question was going to be the beginning of sanity returning, because these ratings and you and I love Deion. Love Deion. I mean, I'm old. I fell asleep at halftime of Colorado State. Otherwise, I was all in. Plus, I worked all day. Cut me some slack. But love Deion. Love him. It's Nick Saban in Alabama. 15-year dynasty.
Right. I'm watching Deion.
What happens when they get drilled? When it's 21-3 in the second quarter, you still watching?
Hell yes. I got to see what he's going to say going in at halftime.
That's the other thing. I was counting on people changing the channel and going, well, this was cute.
I'll have both games on. I've got multiple TVs in my living room when I watch football. But the volume's going to be on for Colorado and Oregon.
Here's the thing I'm concerned about for Colorado, to be serious for a moment. Offensively, they're scoring 10 less points a week. Now, can you really argue it's because of the defenses they're playing? I mean, we're going to argue Colorado State's the best defense they faced? I mean, until the final drive of regulation, they had scored, 20? So, 1, we've got tape on Colorado's offense, and teams and defenses are making adjustments. 2, now Travis Hunter's out. He was their best player on both sides of the ball. Defensively, however, Colorado's not getting any better. I mean, they're not. I mean, Nebraska's just a train wreck on offense. They didn't do anything to stop TCU. And quite frankly, Colorado State moved the ball up and down the field for 4 hours. So that's my concern for Dion, his son at quarterback, and that team this week. Is that first off, we really don't know about their depth. I mean, 86 new players. We sure all of them are good? I mean, really? And secondly, defensively, they don't seem to be that good of a team. And
no, they can't get
offensively,
after a quarterback. And if Bo Nix has time, David, he can actually hit receivers.
And Eugene is a tough place to play.
And they're going to be up for this game.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Dan Lanning circled this game at Pac-12 Media Days when he was asked about Colorado leaving the conference. And he just flat out said, I'm trying to remember what it is Colorado ever done since they've been in the conference. He's not wrong, by the way. So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Which one of the 3:30 games interests you more? I was just counting, Mark, on about 4:30, people going, this was cute. We'll see how they do next week against USC, and then going over to the 10-7 game.
Yeah, the 10-7 game, if it's 10-7 Ole Miss, may keep them around because nobody wants to watch Alabama win anymore.
I understand, but what if, I mean, come on. What if Ole Miss goes in there? And I know they've won there before. It's 2015. Alabama also won the national title that year, but Alabama committed 5 turnovers that day. And Ole Miss got a deflected ball off of 2 guys that went for an 80-yard touchdown. I mean, it was a strange game.
Well, hey, to say Alabama's not going to turn it over, they'll turn it over. If they let this kid throw it, he's going to turn it over at some point.
So the Patriots, can they continue their mastery over the Jets? And if they don't, and Zach Wilson, what does that mean? You got Ohio State, really, for the Big Ten to get 2 teams in. This is a big game for the Big Ten. And the changing of the guard in the SEC West? A changing of the guard in the ACC? Listen, what do we like in this country, Mark? We like games with consequences. This is a fascinating football weekend. There is a lot on the line this weekend.
And that we're into conference play. Yeah, you're going to be at Penn State and Iowa. Iowa doesn't score a whole lot, but who's to say they don't show up and give Penn State a game?
Well, the other thing is it might be a rainstorm, which could help Iowa.
Keep it under 16. Iowa's got a chance.
Nope, no doubt. No doubt. This is that Titans-Browns NFL game. First one to 20 wins.
And usually when we have all these big games, there'll be another game that'll sneak up on the screen and jump out at us. Who is it? Who pulls off the upset in what's going to be a terrific college football weekend? Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show? Go to all the usual places to download the podcast. The text line is always open at 21,000 here during the Diamond District Bonus Hour. Brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I just came across a cool graphic of NFL teams' records in their last 162 regular season games.
Saw that.
You saw that, right? That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's 10 years.
Yeah.
With the NFL, but yeah.
Mark, who do you think has the most wins?
In the last 10 years?
Last 162 games for each NFL team, as if it were an MLB season.
I have a guess.
Well, you didn't see who had the most wins?
I didn't pay attention to that. I was actually looking at the bottom of the divisions more than the top. I was curious.
The Patriots.
I'm going to say Chiefs.
The Chiefs. 116 and 46 they'd be. And then the Patriots are 109 and 53.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Worst record is the Jags. 50 and 112. Dolphins look a lot like the Marlins. 78 and 84. Seen too many of those seasons.
If the Rays win 6 of their last 8, they'll win 100 games and not win the East. Because, I mean, the Orioles would have to go 4-5 for the Rays to win it.
So, were you guys watching last night's game on the Amazon Prime broadcast?
How else can you watch it?
Well, no, I just was wondering if you were watching it at like an establishment, but you had access to it and you were controlling the interface of it, right?
I turned it on.
And you didn't do anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, they have a really cool interface, like when you pull up the stats bar, because it gives you a lot of different stats, team stats and individual stats and like game leaders and whatnot. And then it gives you an entire, like the entire roster of each team, and each player has a bio as well as their career stats. It's really nice. I think it's the nicest interface I've seen. out of all of the other
Is it
platforms.
fantasy driven or is it fan driven?
I think it's both. Honestly, I really do, because it even gives you a history of each team, and then of course, since it's Amazon all the way on the right, it gives you like these teams. Well, why don't you buy their jerseys? We can direct you right to the store. You can just put it in your cart right now. Here's a Debo Samuel jersey. But I like it. I think it's great.
Well, the streaming numbers for week 1 were huge. Amazon and the NFL were thrilled.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with some final thoughts coming up in about 20 minutes' time here on Miller and Moulton. I'm going to get this in. And, you verbally do with me whatever you need to do.
Here it comes, everybody. I'm predicting baseball.
The Marlins are hosting the Brewers. The Brewers' magic number to clinch Essentials 2. So do they end up celebrating in Miami? Meanwhile, if the playoffs started today, the Marlins are the 6th seed. In fact, this would be the first-round playoff series in the National League, 3 against 6. Only instead of it being in Miami, it would be in Milwaukee. So there. Marlins own all the tiebreakers against the Cubs and the Reds and the Diamondbacks. So they're tied with the Cubs and a half a game ahead of the Reds. So, just keep on keeping on. 79 wins right now for the Marlins. We thought it would take 85. I don't know. What do you say, 84? Like right now, Marlins have 9 games left.
If they go 5-4, do they get in?
Right now, if you said to the Marlins, you could post 84 and 78. Remember, Cubs and Reds got to get to 85.
I think the Marlins get in with 84. The Cubs or Reds have to get to 85 because of the tiebreak. I think you're on to something there, David.
By the way, the Rays and the Jays, which right now would be a first-round playoff series because Toronto is the 5 seed. Rays a game and a half behind Baltimore, but 2 in the loss column, and Baltimore owns the tiebreaker. So, the Rays have 8 games left, and realistically, they'd probably have to win it 7 of them to have a shot.
I am right with you, David.
I mean, we did the math. If they go 6-2 in their last 8, they'll win 100. Okay, and that means the Orioles, who have 9 games left, could go 5-4 and still win the East. I mean, do we really think the Orioles, who lost last night, are going to finish 5-5 in their last 10? So, I mean, the Rays have to go at least 7-1. They may have to run the table here to win the East, even though they're like, it's a game and a half. It's more. It's more. So, and for what it's worth, Wander Franco's replacement got called up. Junior Caminero. Might be the number 1 minor league prospect in all of baseball. Kid started the year in high A. Had an OPS over 1,000. They sent him up to double A. He's got an OPS of like 930 in 60 games. Actually, 80 games, he's driven in over 60 runs with over 20 homers. He plays shortstop and third base. Rays offense second half of the year, 14th. Even though they're 4th overall in runs, if you break it down from June 1st on, they've been
Part of that is they had a terrible July.
Yes.
I mean, they had a ridiculously awful month of July. So they have I think, righted the ship starting August 1.
So yes, want to get that out there because baseball still stubbornly decides we're going to continue to play in September and October. Unlike golf and other sports, which, hey, talk about a sport that's being stubborn. I mean, have you watched any NASCAR?
David, I haven't watched a NASCAR race in months.
Right?
Months.
Playoffs are a month old. I mean, the playoffs started a month ago. 3-4 races ago, the playoffs started. They've already eliminated 4 guys. Ross Chastain's struggling, by the way. He's had a bad second half. He's tied for 9th in the points.
He's had a bad season other than the win.
Well, he had that good month there. Didn't he have like 2 wins back-to-back or something like that? Or in close proximity? I thought maybe a first and a second back-to-back. He was first in the points most of the first half of the year.
And then it's gone south.
Oof. So, what can I tell you? Baseball and NASCAR still want to keep playing in September and October. I just thought I'd throw that out there. By the way, if you're bored in the mornings, okay, you want some live sports, you can watch the Solheim Cup, all right, which was on at 2:30 this morning. It's on right now. You can watch it again tomorrow and Sunday. Just saying. What's it on? Is it on Golf Channel, USA?
Golf Channel.
Yeah,
it's on the Golf Channel.
Okay.
Huge crowds cheering on the European team. No, there are huge crowds.
Oh, okay. All right.
I put it on. You told me to put it on. I put it on.
You love your live morning sports. I thought I'd give you a little live morning sports. Plus, the U.S. went 4-0 an alternate shot in the morning, so the U.S. is winning.
USA, USA.
There you go. It works in every other sport. So, okay. Just wanted to get that off my chest. We're missing an upset here. Notre Dame 3-point dog at home to Ohio State. Yeah, it'll technically be an upset, but come on. It's a top 10 team winning at home. It's like when they beat Clemson at home 2-3 years ago. I mean, yeah, technically it was an upset, but I mean, come on, really? Stop the presses type of upset? No. What's the upset that we're missing? Sunday or Saturday? What's the one that, like, if Ole Miss beats Alabama, will you go, holy blank?
Yes, I will. I know Alabama's playing lousy. I think it's going to be a close game, but I just think Alabama. I don't think Alabama was all that happy. The players were all that happy with who the coach had playing quarterback last week.
I know that for a fact. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the first time, Mark. Listen, even legends make mistakes. They do. Even sometimes legends screw up. They don't get everything right. Nick made a mistake last week, and his team let him know. What the heck are you doing? This guy's been our number 1 quarterback this spring into the summer. You're blaming him for the Texas loss? Seriously?
The upset I want to see, by the way, is Auburn beat Texas A&M.
Oh, jeez.
Because they might run Jimbo out if he lost that game.
Think of the pressure that's on the A&M boosters. They're looking a couple hours to their north and east, and you got the SMU boosters going, so what do we need, 400 million? No problem. And then what? The A&M boosters, when they go, well, the buyout's 78 million. I don't know if we can afford that. Are you kidding? One of those guys is going to go, hey, SMU's coming up with 400 million. We can't come up with 80?
So that's the one I want to see.
All right. It's not going to happen. Listen, Deion's not going anywhere for 2 years. He's not. He's
Correct.
not leaving. He's not leaving his sons. It's not happening.
That's a guarantee. Everybody needs to understand that Deion's name's going to be rumored for every job that comes open, but until his sons graduate Colorado, they can't transfer again.
So he's in Colorado for 23 and 24. Listen, it won't happen. It won't happen. It won't happen. I would empty my savings account to see Dion in Tuscaloosa. I really would. I would give.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
I know. I would give away all the money that I have, which is not a lot, but I would give it all away. How about College Station? Hey, Brian Kelly's at LSU. Don't tell me strange things can't happen, okay? This is the SEC. And Texas and Oklahoma are joining the conference. Hell, Missouri's in the conference. Don't tell me Dion can't up at Texas A&M. Hell, he spent 20 years in Texas. Played for the Cowboys, for goodness sake.
No, I could see that. I would be completely shocked to ever see him in Tuscaloosa. A&M, Auburn, there's a lot of places in the SEC I could see him. Alabama's just not one of them.
By the way, it's $9.5 million a year. Jimbo's buyout keeps going down. So at the end of this year, it's 77. At the end of next year, it's like down to 68. Guys, we need 70 million and we need to pony up for Dion. What do you say?
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Today in Sports Clips on the same day, this is when Mike Patrick asked what Britney Spears is doing with her life. During the broadcast, it's overtime of UGA and Alabama. And it's the same day as I'm a man. God.
Paper City Gamer, why? Why are you no longer watching? Because NASCAR actually had a good little thing going there for about a year and a half, and I was all in. I was watching through middle of this season, but I don't know what happened to me late summer. I stopped. I will say I do have a lot going on in my life right now, but I don't know. I stopped watching. 2 Mondays ago, I didn't even mention the NASCAR race in a starting five. That's how out of mind it has become with me. Ditching the powder blue for teal. God, I wish the Dolphins would go back to the old jerseys. I don't get that one at all. Those jerseys were awesome. That helmet, those jerseys.
Oh.
Is that reaction to golf?
Yeah, it was just a bad leave. Rosang tried to, I think it was a par 5. She was trying to get home, and it didn't go in the trap. It stayed on the, like on the rough right by the trap. And she's short-sighted. That just looked like a really difficult shot.
It's best ball, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't think she played any of the rookies this morning. I think she's got 4 rookies.
Welcome to the Bonus Hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. It is the bonus hour, the Diamond District bonus hour. Todd and Jason. Oh, it's a big weekend for them. One of them's a Buckeye fan. Oh.
And the other one's a Dolphin fan, and every weekend is a big weekend for Dolphin fan right now.
He's also a Canes fan, I believe. So, things are looking good right now. He doesn't have anything in the L column so far this year. Football's treated him well.
And if you want to stay away from the L column, then shop the Diamond District. That's how you score a win at home.
Look at you.
Jewelry is undefeated, untied, and unscored upon when it comes to what makes a lady happy. And if you're going to buy a diamond or any jewelry, we recommend the Diamond District. Jason and Todd, they've been doing this for 20 years. They're obviously doing it right if they've been around this long in Southwest Florida. Places pop up, trying to think that they're better. They don't last. Go with the experts. Go with the Diamond District. Go with Jason and Todd. And make sure you tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
Yeah. Especially that last part. Yeah.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1692 we start today, David. The last people were hanged for witchcraft in Salem. 8 of them today. 19 overall. Benjamin Franklin today in 1773 publishes a hoax letter, an edict by the King of Prussia in the Public Advertiser criticizing Britain's colony policies in the American colonies. Lincoln issues a preliminary Emancipation Proclamation today in 1862, threatening to free all enslaved people in the rebel southern states if those states fail to rejoin the Union by January 1st of 1863. Cy Young wins his last game, number 511 today in 1911.
Is that when people ask the question, name the record in sports that will never be broken, that you quote the most?
Yes.
And then people go, wait, hold on a second. He won how many games? Yeah, 511.
511.
Right. Over 100 more, I think, than Christy Mathewson, or right around 100 more, or something like that.
SMU hold their first class today in 1915, as did Xavier University in New Orleans, the first black Catholic college, both opened today in 1915.
Did you say SMU?
I did.
Did they ask to join the ACC shortly thereafter, or no?
I think they were in the Southwest Conference there.
That's true, they were.
1927, the long count in the Tunney Dempsey fight. It's at Soldier Field in Chicago. Tunney beats Dempsey in a 10-round unanimous decision.
Yeah, actually, he was knocked out. They screwed up.
Today in the UK, commercial television begins with an ad for Gibbs toothpaste. 1968, Twins utility player Cesar Tofar pitches a hitless inning and plays all 9 positions in a 2-1 win over the Oakland A's. Wasn't just Campaneris playing all 9 positions. Willie Mays hits his 600th home run today in 1969. The U.S. beats Britain and Ireland today in the Ryder Cup in 73. It was the first time Ireland was included in the team name. Today in 1975, the World Football League folds, and the second attempt on President Ford happens. They didn't like that guy.
No, man. It's crazy. Think about that. And I think both were women. I think both people who tried to kill him were women.
Yes. Sarah Jane Moore this time. 1976, the world changed for all adolescent boys because Charlie's Angels debuted on television today.
Holy mackerel.
Farrah Fawcett, Kate Jackson, and Jacqueline Smith.
Have to admit, I became a bigger fan in ensuing years because Farrah left. Is she like Chevy Chase? Did she just do a year?
One and done.
Right. She did a year and was so big, left, and Cheryl Ladd replaced her. And I was a fan. Poster and everything.
81, Sandra Day O'Connor appointed to the Supreme Court. 82, Family Ties premieres on NBC.
The show did pretty well.
Yeah, the first Farm Aid was today in 1985.
Do you know the backstory to Farm Aid? That when Dylan performed in Live Aid, he said on stage, hey, is there any way that we could, like siphon off $1 or $2 million going on here and give it to the farmers? Okay, because they need it too. And some people got upset, and Willie Nelson, Neil Young, and John Mellencamp went, I think he's onto something. And so a few months after Live Aid, they had Farm Aid.
Fernando wins 20 today as a Dodger, becoming the first Mexican to do so. Today in 89, Baywatch debuted. Today in 1990, Andre Dawson steals his 300th base. Is the only player other than Willie Mays to have 300 home runs, 300 steals, and 2,000 hits. Shula written number 300 today in 1991. At the age of 46, Nolan Ryan pitches his last game was today in 1993. Friends debuted today in 1994. The West Wing debuted today in 1999. And 2.5 Men premiered today in 2003.
That show was funny. I'm sorry.
Yes, it was.
With Charlie Sheen, that show was funny.
Bob Lemon, Tommy Lasorda, Ingemar Johansson, and David Stern all born today. Singer David Coverdale, 74. Joan Jett is 65. Vince Coleman, 62. Mike Richter's 57. And Carlos Correa is 29.
Can I just have a moment? Could you just go back? Who's 57?
Mike Richter's 57.
Can I just have a moment? Thank you.
And Carlos Correa is 29. What did I miss, David?
You didn't miss a damn thing, man. You got it all. I had so many things in front of me, and I'm just checking them off. I'm like, look at this. He's just got it all today. For those that don't know, Mike Richter was the New York Rangers goalie. They've won one Stanley Cup in 83 years. So for those of us that root for that team, he and anyone that was on that team, it's kind of a big deal.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Arkansas, where Aspen Brown was on a hike with her dad. She's 7. She was hiking in the crater of Diamond State Park when she found a 2.95 carat diamond. Could be worth anywhere between $12,000 and $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah. For the bad, we go to Northport, where a couple of siblings were missing. Mom's car was stolen. Mom's freaking out. Car was pulled over. Far north, 200 miles north of Northport. In Alachua. Cops went to the car very nervous because of the stolen car report. But much to their surprise, the deputies observed a 10-year-old male exit the vehicle along with his 11-year-old sister. That's right. The siblings that were missing stole Mom's car and were 3 hours away. Mom declined to press charges when she picked them up.
Do you think you could have driven 200 miles on the highway at 10 or 11?
Not on the highway. I was driving by that age. We had a cottage up north. My grandfather used to let me drive a lot at 10 and 11.
Uh-huh.
But I can't even fathom the idea of driving an interstate. No.
I'm trying to think if I was big enough to touch the gas and the brake pedal, because I actually think I could, because like you, and I didn't spend a ton of time with my father, but he actually, the first driving that I did was with my dad, and he actually taught me how to drive a truck. I could drive a Mack truck at like 8. All right. Now I sat on his lap, of course. Okay. But I knew how to, steer it and shift it and the gears and the whole deal. He would have to do the pedals. I'm trying to think if I could have reached the pedals at that age.
We had an old Blazer, and my grandfather had a piece of foam that he put on the seat, like a hard foam, so I could see. And it was a good 6 inches up, and I could get to the pedals. And that was at like 10 or 11. There's no way.
But doesn't lifting your seat up take you further away from the pedals, though?
But I could still get to the pedals when he
right.
did.
See, that's my thing. Because I'm 5'10", and I was kind of a normal height growing up, and I'm wondering if at 10 or 11 I would have reached the pedals. Because you're right, Mark. I have a feeling I would have had to sit on, remember, I'm 10 or 11. It's my day. We had phone books. That's what I would have sat on. I would have found a phone book. I would have been sitting on a phone book.
finally, the ugly. We stay in Florida near Orlando, where Amanda Ferragamo was watching a man and a woman stretching by a pool when she went nuts and attacked them.
Why?
There may be some link between the woman and the man, although that's not in the documents that I have here. They say it has been redacted from the arrest affidavit to say the incident could be domestic in nature, but the man told police, she blanket attacked us. She's pissed. She slapped the woman and attacked the man and was arrested on the spot and taken to jail without incident. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 22nd. The last day of summer, David, 2023.
It's ridiculous. Should be the first day of fall at the very least. Can't believe we're getting an extra day of summer. It's ridiculous. If the horoscope signs change, then so do the seasons, okay? I don't know what we go to now. What is this? Virgo? What are we?
No, we're
what are we
leaving
doing?
Virgo, whichever the one past Virgo's next.
Oh, okay. So are we Pisces? Where are we?
I don't know. I just know I'm on the cusp of Leo and Virgo. So I know that Virgo's about done.
Gotcha. Like I mentioned earlier this hour, Marlins home for the Brewers. Right now, that'd be a first-round playoff series. This, I think, the last home series for the Marlins. I think they spend the final week on the road. And so there'll be big crowds. I'll tell you right now, 50,000 for 3 games. Do they do 50,000?
The Marlins?
Yeah. That's 16-7 a game.
Right. No.
Come on. They got a fan appreciation thing Sunday, right? I mean, that'll
Dolphins are playing Sunday. There ain't anybody going to the Marlins game.
Rays are hosting the Jays. It's the final home series for the Rays.
Yes, it is.
So what do you say? I mean, 3-game series. Do they do 60,000 for the Rays?
No.
Bucks aren't playing till Monday. No?
No.
Okay. All right. One afternoon game, kind of a big one. Colorado on the north side of Chicago against the Cubs. That's who the Marlins are tied with for the final playoff spot. For what it's worth, the Pirates, who just took 2 or 3 from the Cubs, are in Cincinnati. Since he's only a half a game behind the Marlins. Just saying. Diamondbacks in New York to face the Yankees. They're trying to stay the 5 seed. If the Yankees get hot this weekend, that brings the Marlins back into play for them as well. We got 4 college football games tonight for you degenerate gamblers. Wisconsin, 5.5-point favorite at Purdue.
Give me
State,
Purdue right now in the points, by the way.
7 o'clock FS1. NC State, 8.5-point favorite at Virginia, 7:30 ESPN. Air Force, 6:30 FS1, or 6-point favorite at 10:30 on FS1, my bad, against San Jose State. And Boise State, a 6.5-point favorite, 10:30 tonight against San Diego State on CBS Sports Network.
I'll take NC State and lay the points against Virginia, too. Miller and Moulton, have a terrific weekend. Enjoy all the football. We'll be here Monday morning to get after it on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI,